10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Reserve time. Liquid's turn to pick.
Pudge.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Lena.
Liquid's turn to pick.
Abyssal Underlord.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining.
Queen of Pain.
Liquid's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time, 5 seconds.
Weaver.
Liquid's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
Naga Siren.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Prepare for battle.
Like have open mic off because you're pubs and then
30 seconds.
yeah, there you go. Hello everybody at Dota TV.
Yeah. Hello, Dota TV. They missed the
Hopefully-
draft. That's nothing too important.
Yeah, honestly, we have nothing good to say about the drafting. You know, the insight's not there. Didn't miss any. Liquid. That's the story of a little bit of Miracle, right? On this Liquid squad, is that OG was based very much around Miracle, and what he wanted to do, and what he felt like needed to be done in mid game and late game scenarios. He was just one of those players that you give a control of the game because he feels it a certain way, and you know whatever he feels, he'll make work out, sort of way. But Liquid, I think, have not done the same thing with Miracle. They haven't built the team so much around him, and I think that to be one of those examples. Mind Control, are you actually dead? Are you going to be body blocked up so much by Era? Maybe. The Ignite, a couple more hits. Mind Control trying to get back to the tower. Eats a Tango. Fairy Fire, another right click. Oh, it's not enough.
Hani.
He gets a healing salve, and now Hani is going to be the one dropping quite low. Dead.
Dang. Era didn't want to commit a little bit of extra damage with that Fairy Fire, but even so, it does actually get their lane equilibrium really close to the Underlord, so he's actually going to have a pretty decent time in that top lane, I imagine.
Yeah. Just Going to be a sweet start for him, though Pyjamas a little bit sad. He'll probably be able to pick up Firestorm. Range creep doesn't get an end here. Meanwhile, Cinderen's already making that rotation over to mid, trying to pressure the SF. Of course, we've seen time and time again, when you have an SF like this, you'll usually have a support to back him up in the laning phase, make sure he gets that CS. And you can see GH.God is already here, spots out Cinderen, takes an Ignite, but gains information.
Very interesting. Neither of the supports going for any kind of pulls here with the Pudge or the Rubik. Liquid prioritizing more, helping out the lanes. Kind of like you mentioned, if you go for all those pulls, Queen of Pain against the SF is Quickfoot's going to have an amazing time. We're seeing already Quickfoot getting some pressure put on him by the Pudge. The Rot just there to try and secure SF those early last hits. He has gone for that bottle rush and needs to make sure that Curry doesn't get sniped, but Ogre, not one of the heroes really capable of doing that.
It's kind of interesting, right? The Mirana off lane, it's actually keeping pulls and not really possible. Koifa is going to turn around on GH.God. This is going to be a close one. First blood actually already goes down at top, and so falls the Pudge. As kind of expected, but it looks like Nip struck first in the safe lane, managing to take out Mind Control's Underlord to gain the first blood, or Koifa could have.
Yeah, like he got a bit too aggressive going to the shop to pick up his poor man's shield and got punished for it. Cinderen swooping on in to now find him in the jungle here, so doing whatever they can to keep this Underlord as low a level as possible.
I think every team that actually has to face Underlord in a ranked match, I've seen them put a huge premium on trying to shut this hero down early, because it just seems, if you give it that first couple of levels, first of all, the laning phase gets more and more insane for the Underlord, and then on top of that, even if he is so pressured that he can't lane at level 3, then he just turns that into really efficient jungling.
Yeah, it's a hero that isn't very useful without farm. Like, part of the his benefit is being super tanky in the front lines, and well, we'll see how tanky he is now. And he's looking to land that stun. He's holding on to it for a long time to guarantee that he can land, and the result is he's just going to die to right clicks.
Yeah, Mind Control, and he has to run straight back, knowing that he's too low. But Ani's on point so far in his laning phase support, and Nip are off to a great start. 0-3 to their favor. They've got 750 experience, about a little bit over 500 gold lead right now, and this is the kind of start they need to have, right? Because they need to hit even harder when it comes to their mid game.
Yeah, they don't want to be giving Liquid room to get Shadow Fiend Naga farmed. I mean, the Naga is getting a lot of farm down bottom, so which Mirana trying to get up in Kuro's face, but that's something that they're kind of trading off for hopefully winning some of these other lanes. But right now, both Shadow Fiend and Naga are still the top 2 CSs, so NIP are getting kills, but they have to be getting these kills, otherwise this early game is looking really shaky for them.
Cinderen going to try and lend a helping hand, deal with Mind Control once level 3.5. GH.God still kind of sitting around mid. Koifa is currently a little bit behind in CS. Mind Control.
Tim doesn't have a TP here, so he knows the Pudge is coming, and he's like, I'm just going to have to walk through the tower, but good call from Cinderen to react to Pudge's movement.
I think that's Ogre's specialty, right? Not giving a damn about towers.
Yeah, I mean, he is a walking tower. He walks around. You don't want anything to do with him. He throws stuff at you.
Miracle. Nice hook coming out from GH.God, but it's not going to be enough. That haste rune and the extra nuking power, level 3 Starstorm now from Trixie after that kill. He's just got a huge experience buff off of being able to pick up that kill, lending Koifa a helping hand. They managed to eliminate both members of the mid lane.
Mirana suddenly has 1,400 gold here. Queen of Pain getting those kills is suddenly off to a great start as well. They don't have any shrines for the Queen of Pain, so Quickfoot will have to go back to base. Probably see him pop a shrine in the base itself, but even so, this is a great start for NIP. Early aggression, they're getting kills across both top and middle lane, so as long as you're winning 2 of the 3 lanes against the Naga, you're okay with her free farming for now, and then you just look to address that problem a bit later on by taking over some more of the map, slowing down Naga's jungle farm if you can push some early towers. That's one thing NIP don't do all too well, though, is going to be able to take towers early. Era, the one hero that can hit buildings decently well, especially if he goes for an early Desolator, but without that, they're not going to be able to push all too fast.
Do you think, by the way, he's got a Ring of Health already, is that going to be the quick Lincoln's pick up to really make that mobility well worth it, and the lockdowns even fewer for Liquid?
I think he definitely wants a Lincoln. It's more whether or not he gets the Deso before it. The Lincoln's very good this game against the Rubik and the Pudge. But if you're kind of snowballing and doing really well, there's also like, okay, we want to push towers, get the Deso faster.
Uh-oh, Miracle. Ani and Cinderin, they've spotted you out. They're going to be able to get their combination here of stuns, and this should be enough magic damage with them running him down with this slow of Ignite. A little bit more. Dive the tower. A nuke. Oh, the last Dragon Slave doesn't actually hit him. And now Cinderin's going to be in serious trouble. The Moonlight Shadow can only save him so much as the counter ward's laid down from Liquid. They managed to pick up that one kill. Meanwhile, top lane, Era, thinking about it, not actually going to go for the dive. The Shikuchi was up. Koifa is going to try and collect the kill. Maybe he blinks over the Ancients, starts working his way behind that offlane tower. Now, Koifa knows Mind Control's somewhere in the jungle. It's just a question of where. Doesn't actually find him as Mind Control managed to run his way all the way down south and takes a Quelling Blade to create an escape route. Liquid finally get a little bit something going their way in this laning phase.
Yeah, the Ogre Lina rotation, it looks good like when it's these two supports you find in SF, but then you see the Ogre's level 2 and Lina was level 4. Only now does Lina hit level 5, Ogre hits level 3. If they had those levels when they go for the gank, they get the kill, but that was like very low-level nukes coming out from those two supports, and SF, just with a magic wand, able to tank through it all. He didn't even have the raindrops until now, so it wasn't quite enough to kill off Miracle. Perhaps hoping they'd find him on lower HP from all the jungling he was doing, but not the case. And they don't get down any wards, so bit of a failed smoke mission.
XC turns around, throws out the arrow. Kuro drops low. They are going to be able to get the last couple of hits in to finish him off. Matu is going to be forced away. A little bit surprised that Matu still going for the typical Naga Siren build, 402, 404. But I thought maybe against the Marana and an attempt to zone him out better, they would get an early level of ensnare. Not the case.
Yeah, with a rotation, I could see it working. I guess just with just the Rubik there, it's like you ensnare and there's not a whole lot of damage output, but I guess that threat of a Pudge is always kind of worth maybe having a good setup for it. But it's going to be another kill going MP's way. Already you can kind of see like they're getting farm on supports. Even Lina's getting to like 1900 net worth, has the Arcane Boots level 6 now, so they recognize after that failed smoke on the SF, they need to get a few more levels and farm on Honey's Lina at least, and then look to make their next couple of moves. Quickford level 8 has Sonic Wave and wants to once again take over this Radiant jungle a bit, but good Radiant Vision is scouting this out once again, so unlikely to succeed here.
GH was in a good position to make sure Hani doesn't catch Mind Control, but now it looks like he may be caught. Era's going to come forward with the Shikuchi and attempted Dark Rift here. Mind Control tries to run away from Hani, and he just might make it too. Era tries to get the last couple of hits off, but doesn't make it. Nice play from Mind Control. Good awareness and good reactions.
Yeah, getting away from that Laguna Blade and see if NIP can at least get the top tier 1 tower off of this. They should have the damage to do so. Between these three heroes up here, they can just keep clearing these waves, but if GH can hit a good hook, they could put them in a bad spot. Oh, Honey. Didn't even know that hook was coming. Well,
bit too quick, it seems, for GH Gunt. Movement speed doesn't quite judge the correctly. Misses out on a kill there. Throws out another hook, just grabs a range creep. That is fine. That'll pull the creep wave off the tower and lessen some of the impact of that push. Ani wrapping around here, may run into Miracle, will hit the LSA combination into the Laguna Blade with the help of Koifa. They'll easily claim that kill. Killing spree now for Koifa. We said he needed to be able to have a good matchup in his lane, and with the help of the supports, he's actually turned this into quite a decent net worth lead for most of the heroes, though SF still keeping Mind Control, chased back to his tier 2 tower. Help him Moonlight Shadow, Nip are going to try and keep up the pressure in this offlane.
yeah, they can just try to get behind the tower and do as much as they can. They've got great vision around this top lane. The ward helped kill the SF, and now it's going to help them ideally take this top tier 1 tower. So they're in a pretty good position, has all the HP regen, and will be able to get this tier 1 tower unless there's some kind of big rotation from like a Naga with a sleep. But I think at this point, if you're Liquid, you're just saying, look, our game plan is built around the Naga Radiance at this point. Let's not defend any towers that we don't have to.
Yeah, delay if you can, but defend a little bit more questionable.
Yeah.
This Liquid team. They wait out that Radiance. Currently sitting Matu 1500. 404 build is complete, so he'll be very speedily clearing through neutrals as well as laning. interested to see how NIP are going to respond to this. Are they actually going to make some sort of aggressive smoke rotations and try and push down this safe lane tower? Or are they just going to keep the pressure on the SF now? Era TPing bottom, it seems like they're at least going to have one core in lane against Matu from out.
Yeah.
But,
I feel like this Radiant jungle is like a very important area of the map for NIP to control against the Naga, because she probably gets like a good 50-60% of her farm from the jungle at this point. With the Iron Talon, Arcane Boots, you can constantly jungle, and there's much more jungle camps on this bottom side of the map that she can use than towards the top, where there's just the 2 camps around the secret shop and the Ancients, which are a bit harder to farm. So taking this bottom tier 1 tower and getting some wards up in this Radiant jungle, I think, is probably the next big goal for NIP.
And I would not want to be NIP in this game, just because, you know, look at, they're pressuring bottom now, but look at the other 2 cores. These 2 cores farm so quickly that you got to be thinking like every minute to yourself, like, oh god, now Underlord's getting farmed, now SF is getting farmed. It just feels like this constant pressure game that even if they are winning, it just seems like a stressful situation.
And it's like, how do you end the game? How do you push high ground against Pudge plus Underlord?
Nice
You're gonna get hooked.
into a Dismember, Koifa, Moonlight Shadow though, and they didn't have Kuro close enough. You know.
Dire's top tower is under
Setting up to go back in now, but we'll need an arrow to lead this one on.
If you can get the angle on Sing here.
Even if they don't get this mid tier 1 tower, they've positioned such that they've controlled this bottom side, so Air is solo pushing a tier 2. He may not get it, but he's getting some good damage off, and they've got another ward deep on the map. Well, quite the solo kill.
Yeah. Bro tries to push out the lane a little bit too much. Matu is being bought space in the top half of the map. He just kind of abandoned the bottom lane and is now trying to farm off the Dire jungle, but as you said, not going to be nearly as efficient, right? You can't play as deep in the Dire jungle as you could in your own Radiant jungle and play off of that. So, at least for now, NIP are going to be making some pretty efficient trades. But the Bloodlust, they'll start quickly taking down this tier 2. What do you think about Era's build, by the way? 3, 4, and 1, choosing to max out on the Swarm rather than Geminate attack.
I like the maximal. It gives you much better Roche taking potential. I think they're going to hit this timing around like 15-16 minutes where you want to get the earliest possible Roche. Not necessarily to take high ground, but it gets that cooldown rolling where you can take every outer tower plus shrines, but the first Roche and then around that second Roche, second Aegis, that's when you've got the items to push high ground with. So I think this build works really well because level 4 Beetles is just amazing. Like, you can kill Roche with any lineup with level 4 Swarm on Weaver. So... And Hani's going to find GH here.
He's just farming some neutrals, and all of a sudden Hani pops out. They is going to land the LSA, so GH God won't manage to make a TP out here. Now he's going to have to go for some sort of deny. He's going to try.
Neutral at least.
He's going to hook the Centaur? I think he's going to try. Leading Hani on a merry chase here. Turns around, gets a little bit of rot damage on him, threatening his life, running north now, just trying to buy as much time as his life could possibly be worth. Goes up a little further, hits that hook, gets a Dismember, but this time around, Cinderant's here. They'll combo their stuns, and Hani survive just HP.
Space created, quote unquote, but NIP didn't even rotate cores. They were just like, the support's got this, they'll deal with it. And the whole time you've had Era at bottom lane, you've had Queen of Pain in mid lane. Quake's still continuing to farm well, has picked up a Orchid very early. Orchid, not a build you see too much anymore, but like it quite a lot this game. Really good as far as if you actually want to gank the Naga, not worry about the sleep escape, and just getting it this early on is a very potent item.
Yeah, I agree. I think you put yourself in a position via the draft that you needed to pressure Liquid really hard. And Orchid is exactly that kind of snowballing item that you're looking for. Counterboard and Sentry is going to be laid down. They're going to be able to get the telekinesis, or Yules rather, to an attempted arrow combination from NIP. Does quickly eliminate the SF. They're going to turn that into Roshan as well with the level 3 Swarm, as well as, who's got that? Oh, it's Cinderant. Cinderant's got the Medallion of Courage, so they've got plenty of minus armor to rip Roshan asunder and claim that Aegis.
They kill it before the Swarm Beetle even dies. No damage taken whatsoever. They're already gunning towards top to defend this lane, as well as probably push the tier 2 tower. And yeah, Mind Control Courage is going to abandon ship.
Dark
just
Rift
out
away.
just in time. But like it really feels like Liquid are getting like they're just getting little scraps on the map while Nip just get further and further ahead. They're taking all the outer towers and they're also setting up to defend this bottom lane. Kuro luckily has a Shikuchi.
One of the real big upgrades Nippo is going to have soon is this Aghanims on Trixie, which means they're going to have even more wave clear, and that'll help collide the map a little bit more. You know, start pushing in all these side lanes, start taking away those tier 2 towers as well, and leave Matu less and less to be able to farm with that Radiance, which he will have it at this rate. They haven't managed to gank Matu yet. They haven't put enough pressure on him to delay that Radiance one bit, so he is going to have it, and he is going to have that big farming capability. But if they can close off the map, they can still shut Naga Siren, or at least delay her inevitable build.
Yeah, she'll have to try get behind them, which is like get into that dire jungle so that you can creep skip waves and send your illusions like right by the enemy base where the creeps spawn. And if you can find yourself in a really deep spot on the map, past an IP, and you're not getting caught out, that's where you can at least farm with the Radiance. But it's kind of a very good time from Matu. It's really is a classic Naga game. Like, you get your Radiance, you're down almost 10k gold, and now the big question is, can the Naga turn the game around, I guess? And Liquid gonna continue to just have to buy time. The Radiance itself is not the solution to this game. It's gonna be a couple more items along the way.
Yeah, Manta is going to be incredibly important, right? Because we have this early Orchid of Koitha. That ability is very much based off of Snowball and can get shut down pretty quickly by those mid-tier items like the Manta that is in Naga Siren. So keeping that timing at bay increases this window of strength for Koitha's build. If they're able to do something like that, though, they're trying to pressure mid and keep bottom lane pushed right now. Hani's going to be taking some experience at top lane. This is pretty funny because this is Hani in a nutshell as a support, right? He always played a little bit greedier, kind of like Solo. Looks like Era may be caught here in this combination. They're going to be let loose with the sleep. They get the telekinesis, and Era is down. Now Koitha comes in for the side, trying to blow up Kuro, but they do get a little bit of heal. The Dark Rift away is going to happen soon. They manage to take away the Aegis and get everybody out. The Dark Rift is back at the fountain, so Rubik will get healed up. So not only did they kill Era, they took away the Aegis. They didn't lose a single hero for it.
That's the kind of plays you need to make. It looks like, okay, you just committed 5 ultimates to get like a kill in Aegis, but when you're behind with the Naga Siren, that's how you want to use like your sleep. Pick off a core hero with sleep and then go back to farming. And it just delays Nip from taking those objectives. Like, they're not getting the tier 2 towers right now. They've had this Aegis, and you're kind of looking at this first Aegis like, okay, it's got to be like, you get your outer towers, you get the shrines, you take over the map. But all it takes is one kill like that, and suddenly Nip gets slowed down. They haven't taken those tier 2s yet. They haven't no longer got the Aegis. Radiant Vision is looking very good right now as well. I think Nip need to prioritize like getting a gem and just taking down a lot of these wards, because...
Oh, Trixie, you making plays here? He got behind Miracle, but GH is there to respond. Nice hook. But yes, I completely agree with you. I thought that Aegis is going to be the leverage, allowing them to take tier 2s. They are going to use the smoke, find Kuro. Not really the kill they were hoping for with the smoke like that. They would have much preferred to run into this Naga Siren and get the Yule's combination on him, especially with the sleep down. But still, a support will have to do. See if they can, well, this time, keep mid and top pushed in. But Liquid, always on the opposite side of the map. They're pressuring bottom.
Yeah, they're, trying to get their first out of the game still, but realistically, that's not a concern for them. They know, like, enough farm on Naga, or you win one fight, and suddenly you get a couple of towers, and this 10k gold lead turns into almost no lead, because those are just money bags waiting to be claimed for Liquid, should this game ever swing their way. So they're just kind of biding their time, playing the patience game, and you know, they've got this strong late game. You've got Shadow Fiend and Naga kind of looked at these two cores as being a very greedy draft, and definitely is, and they've suffered for it here in the early game. But if they can hold on for a bit longer, they've got the good high ground defense, this game will start looking more and more favorable for them the longer it goes.
Hani gonna be caught here, ensnared up straight into the hook of GH. No TPs from Nip to respond to that bit of aggression from Liquid. They've been pressuring bottom this whole entire time. Hani, I think he was hoping to just set up a kill for his team with the Yule stun combo, but instead, he is the one who gets comboed up instead. Koitha has a double damage. Bloodlust still. He's going to try and go for Miracle here, but actually gets telekinesis, a lot of burst damage, and Koitha is forced to blink away.
Well, close. Get killing Quake, but there would have been a disaster really for Nip, considering what just happened at bottom lane as well. Yeah, Lena's a support, but that was a 500 gold streak being ended. That was a tower, and it's now going to be a tower up top. The way they've split the map with the Naga illusions and leaving some of their heroes bottom, some top, kind of splitting off into these smaller groups to fight has really played out well for Team Liquid.
Endrin, he's going to run into GH and mind control. He's now stuck in the trees, being duoed again. Sierra's going to try and help him out, but the burst damage just isn't there. GH is going to get a free ride out of here with the Dark Rift. Can't do anything to stop that one. It looks like Nip, I think they're falling back on like plan B. You know, plan A is shutting down the Naga Siren and winning the game so heftily in the first 20 minutes that you can close it out by 30. But it looks like with the way their item builds are shifting and the way they seem to be building farm on everybody, is that they are now focused a little bit more on late game, because they have wave clear on every single one of their cores. They're not going the Desolator. It's on the Weaver. He's going Maelstrom as second item. You've got an Ags on Koifa, and then obviously you have that Aghanim's on Trixie as well, another form of wave.
Yep. They're gonna ideally look to scale as late as possible here. Quake, they're getting hunted. Oh!
Goes to sleep though. Now telekinesis onto Koifa. They let loose, but again, it's still not enough. He's got the stats necessary. Synderen, he unfortunately does not have that escape mechanism. Meanwhile, GH, not going to be able to TP away back over the jungle. Liquid hunt Koifa down, not going to be able to find him. Kuro tried to trade Blink for Blink to see if he can catch that mid carry of Nip, but was unable to do so. Miracle's going to continue to hunt, though, with his Silver Edge. He's going to wander around behind the Tier 1 tower and see if he stumbles upon a quick kill, and he just might with the help of... I think they're going to be killing Aaron anytime soon. I thought maybe he'd run into Hani, but Hani's sticking close to Trixie.
Yeah, they don't have the Requiem for this either, so don't think that's really a viable kill for them. But yeah, we're going for the anti-Naga build. It does feel like he would have gotten a lot of value out of the Desolator. There's been no pressure onto him. The Lincoln's is nice for like the sustain, so you can keep pushing out lanes and you're getting spammed a lot. But I think he could have gone like Perseverance into the Deso and back for the Lincolns later on. But now as a result, like you say, like they've really just changed their game plan up here. They're going to be looking for some of those late game quap builds and really just trying to drag this game out and just be able to clear out these lanes as best as possible.
Kuro here with the Orchid. They just need vision. He's hiding behind the trees. Synderen, don't go that way. He needs your help, homie. He needs your stun. Oh, no. Well, either way, it just would have been a hard fight position. Nothing too important. Those kind of words are kind of necessary. Never know where Miracle is lurking about.
Yeah, he's back for the Dragonlance. He's looking very tanky now with this Silver Edge Dragonlance up to 2k HP. Gonna have some extra mobility once he completes the Hurricane Pike, so finding him not gonna be anywhere near as easy, and Weaver's just not looking like all that big of a threat. Has farmed well, but Era like doesn't have like we saw bottom lane. Pitlord and Pudge just go in, 2-man kill the Ogre, and then get out because Weaver doesn't have enough damage up with Punish it. You find Kura in the mid lane, but it's still just like you kind of mentioned, like would have just been a support kill up top. The big kills on heroes like Matu on the Naga Siren or Shadow Fiend are just not happening.
Looks like they picked up a gem, try and limit some of the vision of Liquid. A lot of that aggressive vision is what allows them to play with Naga Siren deep on the other side of the river. Mid lane, Trixie going to be caught by an ensnare here. That's going to last a while. Looks like long enough for them to be able to get the kill. Ensnare into Pit of Malice. That's kind of a gross combination. It works out well to bring down a core of Nips.
Nice little kill, and they're just back to farming. They've got a lot of the top side of the map controlled. That one deep observer just allows them to farm up below this jungle fairly safely, although have some vision of their own in that area. But even so, like the Naga illusions have just been able to keep everything pushed out. They've finally taken a couple of towers. They're chipping away at mid with the Naga illusions. Matu close to hitting that Octarine core. It's going to be very tough to deal with once you get that low cooldown, the sleep down to 45 seconds. Suddenly ganking him doesn't become all too feasible. I mean, it does with the Orchid, but you know the next time it's going to be the Manta style after that Orchid.
We are now in a point of a game where the stakes amp up a little bit. You have a gem on both sides of the table. And one team could very clearly take control if we manage to get that next fight that turns into a drop gem on one side or the other. Then one team is going to be able to have that clear map control. start suffocating the opposing team, and that's going to be really rough. If Nip's the one who loses the gem, I think your chances of winning this game drop by maybe as much as 10%, right? You just can't afford to lose that kind of map control and feel that suffocation against the Naga Siren. But this also could be a key to victory here for Nip. They are so close to these two heroes. Miracle and GH tried for a hook. Going back the creep way. GH, what you doing there? He's going to get caught by the Yule Scepter. And I think he was just hoping to pull Nip back a little bit or something there. But
I don't know if he realized quite how many heroes were in the neighborhood. I think he thought it was like, oh, there's 1 or 2 there. I'll hook him in. We get a kill, and then we TP out. That's what they were doing at bottom lane with like the Pudge and Underlord earlier. Kill Cinderin, TP out in front of the Weaver. Nothing Nip can do about it, but will be a Nip Roche. And I think even without that pick, this was going to be a Nip Roche regardless, and not something that Liquid are overly worried about. Miracle finds a courier. Can he get out now? It should be fine with Cinderin not having that gem, and the rest of the team still finishing Roche, but being able to take objectives off of this Aegis is like the big ask, and that's something which I feel Nip is still going to struggle to do with the current state of the map and just the lane equilibrium being constantly on their side, so they're going to still have their work cut out for them.
Well, if you're losing objectives, better to lose it by your hand. Anybody else's. Koifa will take the deny on the tier 2 at bottom, which is what they traded just for. Mantis Town's coming up for Miracle, and it is also going to be coming up for Matsu as well. He chose to go for the Octarine. Travel, Trixie, turn in, manages to kill 1 illusion. Miracle's here. We get that Silver Edge proc. They tried to go for the sleep catch as well, but unable to do so. Can't execute that quick heal combination of sleep into Requiem.
Yeah, no longer a big deal with the Octarine up. It's back up in 30 seconds time, but would have been a nice little kill for them, with Trixie having a decent chunk of farm. He's not really that traditional offlaner. In some ways, he is transitioning well and truly into a late game core hero as well. So, to do what they can as far as NIP are concerned to keep everyone up in terms of overall farm. The Lena Hani, level 15 with 8k net worth almost. So, they realize that if they want to take this late, they need to have more than just 2 cores. They need to have 3, 4 heroes with good farm who are going to be able to deal with Naga illusions.
No, I didn't realize this until now, but Koifa's always been a very greedy mid. Likes to play more carry style with his mids. If you can give him a good matchup, he can snowball off of that, but for the most part, he, especially going into mid game, is going to be a lot greedier than most others. And then combine that with players like Hani, who's also a greedy from a support position. You actually have this new version of Nip may be a lot more late game focused than others. And Koifa is keeping up his farm to a very relevant status. He's second in net worth, not too far behind the Naga Siren, and actually has completed side fights.
Yeah, he really does play that like old school RTZ style mid, where you're really the most farmed hero on the map often. Like you're the one position as far as farm priority, even though you're playing out of the mid lane. So, I mean, anytime you talk to Era, he kind of just jokingly complains like, "Yeah, Quakefa just wants to farm, so I have to like run around creating space." And that's why he goes for this this Linken's build, because he's like, "Well, I got to be the one kind of fighting a bit more, and this Linken's is going to allow me to like give space to Quakefa to farm. If you go for a Desolator, you're just too squishy, and he feels like he needs to be able to fight more." So it kind of is like the way the overall role distribution works on the ninja side.
Tier 1 tower quickly taken out by Miracle as it had been chipped away earlier, but now all of Liquid are in one space, and Nip are kind of looking for a fight, but being scouted out by these Naga Siren illusions, and it may be Liquid who take the first step here. With Silver Edge, Sleep, they have to be aware of this Requiem combination. Era's already been fearing it. You could see he's thinking about going for a BKB next. Oh, Koifa! He just blinked straight into them, just immediately gets taken out. Now they have the chance still for this combination. The arrow actually hit Kuro in the background. Trixie comes in, pops the shrine, is going to be dismembered by GH. God, it looks like they're going to be able to finish him off. A stun onto Matsu. They get a little bit more, but now he's managed to pop out his illusions, throws out the ultimate, but it's not good enough. They're going to get a Dark Rift out. No, mind control! They got the proc, they finish him up, but there goes the sleep, and Era is low. They don't have one of their cores. Wait, no! Matsu, help out Miracle! Wait, no! Oh god! He gets off the ultimate! Koifa, he blinks forward, he goes for Matsu, but Matsu still goes down to Hani. Nip, what a massacre that was! GH is still up versus Hani. The two supports can match up against each other if they want, but In the end,
Curry even gets a gem.
all right, so they both claim a gem apiece. What? I mean, that should have been a clean escape for Liquid, right? Throw down the sleep. Miracle runs away with the help of the sleep.
The Underlord dying just before the Dark Rift went off, and I guess Matu repositioned his hero because it looked like SF was moving forward as if to line up a Requiem on the Queen of Pain, and then suddenly Queen of Pain wasn't sleeping and was killing Miracle, and it was this big panic moment where Miracle's like, wait a second, aren't you meant to be, like, not attacking me? You're meant to be sleeping right now, but I think Matu had just slightly repositioned his hero, not realizing, like, I mean, you can't see the whole fight when you're positioned, like, closer down to the river. You can't see exactly what's going on to the north and know the exact range of that spell, and it kind of put Miracle in this really awkward position where he thought he was going to hit a Requiem on a Queen of Pain and clean up. He would have survived, killed Quap as well as the Weaver if he hit that Requiem, but it was just slightly miscoordinated.
The Dark Rift going down would have been a big win for Liquid. If they had actually done the sleep combination, they would have won the fight. And in one way or another, they had two different opportunities to get wins, but whether through RNG or bad communication, I mean, that Maelstrom proc to finish off mind control at that last second was pretty crucial. But then maybe it's miscommunication between the two cores. Maybe they had two different ideas of what they wanted to do in that team fight with that sleep, and ends up costing Liquid quite a lot. Nip are able to go basically even in that team fight.
But do you think that helped? How much do you think that helps Nip, though, like as far as getting, I mean, I want to say getting back in this game, because it does feel like this game has slipped away from them some.
I think status kind of remains the same, where it could have been a huge upset. It could have been Liquid taking control of the game if it hadn't been. Ultimate coming down. Trixie starts backing away at the right time. Miracle's just hoping for Trixie to stay in one place for a time, but Trixie now goes for the leap over to the side, closer to Miracle. Miracle can still hunt him down. They do have the damage over time as well, but Trixie does manage to get away with the Moonlight Shadow. It looks like he'll be good. Synderen throws out an Ignite. TP's out as well.
Nice little escape from Trixie. Gone back. This is a post-Aghanim's Midas, right? He didn't get this till after the Ags.
On who now?
On Trixie.
On Trixie. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, he picked up that farming item
later Midas. Yeah, normally, like, you think, okay, Ags, there's your farming item. If you want to go Midas, like, as a support Mirana into the Ags, like, it's one thing, but going back for it is... Once they get that level 25, I guess, as fast as possible.
Yeah, maybe he's a big fan of the split-shot arrows.
I mean, I was a bit of a doubter of that. Like, I remember when I first read, I was like, oh, did he get the attack speed? That sounds super gimmicky. And then I talked to Weeha. I was at the ESL or whatever, because he got it at level 25 on his Cole Mirana. He was like, his team didn't believe in him. His team's like, no, that's stupid, man. Don't get that. Get the attack speed. But you hit a couple, like, multiple hero arrows, and suddenly you're in business.
Era, fresh BKB is up. He knew this was going to be a problem. Sleep in a Requiem. He is going to be comp on the ensnare still, but does manage to time lapse that one away. Starts walking out with the Shikuchi, but GH is there. He managed to snag him, gets the Dismember, and all those defensive items for Era still do not save his life.
Yikes. That is worrying when your Lincoln's BKB Weaver is going down. And overall, this game does not feel like it's going a good place for NIP. If anything, this push down mid could be a threat towards the racks here. Like, the NIP do not have the best lineup for defending against the physical damage coming out from the SF. Like, the Naga illusions can be cleared okay by all the AoE damage, but he'll just keep on making more.
Honey has completed Octarine. I was a little bit surprised when they started going for that soul booster. I thought Ags was a very natural second pickup here, but he opts to go for the lower cooldown on all his spells rather than pure damage of his Ags upgrade.
It's definitely like a nice lean item. I mean, for any 6-slotted leaner, like I think there's an Octarine core somewhere in the mix, but it's like as a support, you don't expect to see that item picked up this early on as your second item pickup. But already level 20, so...
Listen to Matu. Matu gets off to sleep, hoping his team will be here in time, but it looks like they're just a bit too far away, taking away that bottom shrine. Nip very clearly wanted to keep this remaining structure alive. Why Koifa made his way over there.
Doesn't really feel like Koifa's gotten too much like value out of this Orchid Hex build of his. feel like the idea with the Orchid definitely makes sense, but as far as like the way the game's panned out, like it does feel like other item builds would have been more effective this game.
Yeah, the Orchid pretty much could have been an Axe first with the unfortunate way that Nip were unable to find the pickoffs that they desired. This is looks like another BKB going to be picked up. Trixie. He will be the next one up. In that regard, last shrine still up. Bottom lane, they do manage to catch him. Gage and Matu. A quick kill on Trixie, but they are going to smoke out on Nip. Koifa's going to reveal himself, but the other two are going to sit behind. See if Liquid take this bait at all. But it's not much of a bait if everyone else runs away. Koifa actually going to turn and fight Kuro a little bit. Still has that blink up. We'll get away. Miracle, though. He's the one has actually been spotted out right now. Did have that counter ward on the cliff, so they saw him for a moment. Again, Gem just not at the right place, the right time.
And with his butterflies, Mante's pretty damn speedy and also just hard to kill in general. Another hook in mid lane, GH.
This doesn't stop.
He's come online. He missed a few early on, but one of those things with Pudge is like, you don't have a rough early game, as long as you can make it for it later, the pick still pays for itself, and that's what we're seeing here.
13 to 18, 37 minutes in, and it's Liquid who are now threatening the base on two fronts. They're pushing into tier 3 at mid as well as bottom, and Nip are attempting to push this back while still waiting for their core Trixie to come alive, and maybe even waiting for Cinderin as well. That Ogre and the Bloodlust is needed. Oh no, the Pit of Malice pushed in, and a BKB. Era does manage to get away from that one, but it doesn't really stop Miracle's push, or Matu's for that point. They've got the tier 3 town already down in bottom lane. The Mailerback's is going to get dropped as well. Nip are finally coming up with their full 5-man, but they've lost so much in this small window of time. Yep. A full lane of Rax and a tier 3 at mid.
Even top lane has Naga Illusions chipping away at. They've got to go on something. They're trying to take the Naga down at mid. I don't think they've got the damage.
He's orchid it up, but that'll fade away. Now he does have the sleep. Koifa, right in the middle of things. GH is unable to get the Dismember off before that blink. It looks like Liquid are just going to keep pushing forward mid. They know some big abilities have been used. Now Trixie's been caught by another hook. GH immediately into the Dismember. They lock Trixie down long enough to be able to kill that core again. 70 seconds on the clock. Into a sleep. Into a Requiem of Souls. They're going to go straight for Era. First, it looks like with the arrow, it makes it easy. Ninjas in pajamas have just been wiped like that. They're going to try and go for some buybacks here. Koifa coming back at the table, but none of Liquid are going to be anywhere near low enough for them to find a kill, and it looks like Liquid are just going to quickly execute a finish to this game. 18 to 18 is the end score, but the result is anything but one-sided. Liquid take game 1.
Yeah, that was a 8k gold lead with something like a 10 kill advantage for NIP, and they just couldn't press their advantage enough. Like, they got that first Aegis, and it was, I mean, similar story to some of the things we saw yesterday with Adfinim against Bears. I mean, that time around the Aegis was on the other team, but it was like this one bad fight when you've got this very early game aggressive lineup suddenly completely evens things. And when you're playing an even footing game against a Naga Shadow Fiend and your late game doesn't really match up, like, you're going to run into problems. They tried to try and like accommodate for that by transitioning more of their heroes into cores. Like, yeah, they're probably thinking like, okay, we've got
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Dire team pick.
That's right.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, really strong early game. I think a little let down. I think that they didn't make more of their early game advantage. I mean, it's always tough. Like, it's so easy to say that. Like, oh, they're up 8k gold versus a Naga. You got to put more pressure on. But by the nature of the way Liquid played, it made them look like a team that just wasn't all that competitive, even though they're up 8k gold. So I think it was a very tough draft to play against. But I think for NIP, it's like still early days with the new roster. They went for, I mean, they themselves had a slightly different draft, like the support Lina, the Mirana offlane. They didn't have really the best way to catch heroes, which they tried to make up for with like the Queen of Pain itemization. But I think ultimately they're going to go for maybe a bit more standard, have a bit more push, deathball-y kind of aspect to their Game 2 draft based on their failings in Game 1.
Pressure and how you need to deal with that pressure, smoke rotations, all those sorts of things. And that's something that I think is going to be hard to come by for a very new team.
Dire team pick.
This fresh roster of Bonnie and Trixie. So maybe a little bit more of a normal lineup for both these two teams, and we can see Nidges and Emma's win here. Best of 3 series. We're going to start off with the Shadow Demon first pick for Nip, followed up by Liquid getting the Warlock counter and the SF second pick.
Yeah, I feel like the Warlock, it's like one of those unusual first stage picks, but it's picked up as a preemptive counter to like potential Shadow Demon Luna 5-man push strats, where it's like, all right, if they want to go all in on some early mid-game push, group up, like we have a Warlock, we can drop a rock, Fatal Bonds Luna with her like the SD illusions and do a huge amount of AoE damage. So Team Liquid almost just like wanting to make sure that they are prepped for some kind of cheesy push strat that may come in. Even if it doesn't come in, Warlock's still a decent hero to have. Yes, yeah, eHome were running a lot of early Warlock picks. Yeah, NP became like one of their big. I mean, they were just doing it like as an AoE teamfight combo with like the Mirana and stuff. But yeah, Lanham was like one of the first big players and captains to really try and push it, and especially as that counter to the 5-man push.
Weaver.
Liquid's turn to ban.
Okay, nothing. I don't think there's too much telling about the Weaver pick. It's like, it does take advantage of the lack of control in these first two heroes, but you got to imagine Liquid. They've got an offlaner for mind control. They've still got GH's hero. We'll have plenty of room to draft into heroes that can at least somewhat deal with the Weaver, but it does set up to have that dire side hero that can Roche. It's a strong laning hero. I think something at least that we can take away from Game 1 is that Nip do like to have good early game, win their lanes, and then work from there.
And see how they I was about to say, I was like, Underlord would be a good one, because that hero just took so much attention for Nip to be able to deal with in the laning phase, and they did deal with them, yes, but they weren't able to have as much impact.
It was definitely a problem hero. I wonder how much they reckon the Naga as another hero that maybe they don't want to verse again. And they can definitely make adjustments. I think they can look at last game and be like, we had a draft an idea that could have won that game. Like, they were up by a decent margin, had a lot of map control, they'd taken down most of the outer towers, they had an Aegis. I think they were in a position where they would have been able, they would have been able to win that game against maybe a weaker team, or a team who, who is maybe like on a similar, I think Liquid right now are the favorites here, and I think if NIP was versing a team they were more like 50-50 against in terms of just where they were at, like NIP still a new team trying to work to kind of build themselves back up, they would have won that game.
Necrophos is actually going to hero and away. I guess you've got a lot of potential 5-man team fight already with the Warlock SF. You combine that with a bit of sustain and pushing power, and Team Liquid's lineup is too much for you to handle, especially for, I think that's one of the big downsides of Weaver. The bugs give you a decent amount of team fight presence, but the hero itself, that you know, single target damage, physical, and it's usually a bit lacking in those early 5-man team fights that a sort of death ball strategy kind of kick Weaver game and make the hero.
Dire team pick.
Yeah, oh, good. Go the Rubik and Warlock together. So we'll see. I want to say GH more likely to play the Rubik as much as one of Kuro's classics, and he did play it last game when it's like I've seen GH also play it when it's more the 4 position here, which is I imagine what the case is going to be for this Rubik here. But very good against the Weaver with the free Shikuchi steal, can steal disruption potentially as well, which is a nice spell to have. So a pretty well-rounded pick, but also something that hides what Liquid doing as far as their Matu hero goes.
Yeah, you everyone thinks of Kuro being the big Rubik god back in the day, but in previous Liquid it was Eric's playing it just because he was good, right? GH, who is well praised by Nip. How are they going to respond to the Rubik? They'll go for a quick Invoker pickup for Koifa.
Okay.
Not really trying to hide that one into a 4th pick at all, just going straight for their mid.
Yeah. Interesting there. I mean, they aren't worried about being taken, but I think they'd rather leave like their support to and that their offlaner to decide if they need to counter anything that Liquid throw at them. But Invoker, I think, solves some of the problems from last game. It has a bit more ability to force pushes. It's going to scale a bit better than the Queen of Pain, just with levels. Like, Queen of Pain kind of suddenly reaches this late game spike when you hit the level 25 if you have the Octarine Blade Mail type build, but the way Koikva was playing was very gank oriented, and unfortunately, he wasn't finding those kills. He ended up just farming a lot and getting this Orchid, Hex, BKB, Ags. Like, he had all these items that he just couldn't really utilize. But Invoker's a hero that you get items, you'll find a way to use them.
That hero, he doesn't have the same peaks and valleys, right? He's stronger. And this time it'll give Ninja's Pyjamas a little bit more of a late game threat. So they very clearly had to fall back on the game. Game 1. Make it work, but able to do so with those kind of heroes, invoke opportunity. Team Liquid actually opting for Sand King, an offlaner that I feel like has been sort of set aside for a little while here now. Patch, people seem to agree that he's strong and everything else, but it seems like a lot of the other mech sustain offlaners are picked up first, rather than the big time team fight initiate.
Yeah. Okay, we saw like a couple Enigmas yesterday. We're seeing the Dark Assist a lot, and then seems teams are happy enough to have a 4 position. Like the Slardars are coming out in the 4 position to kind of be that more stun initiator. But I guess they don't want to entirely have to rely on the Rubik here, and probably just deciding like they don't need that mech hero so much. It's going to be a kind of tempo of game where they're not necessarily 5-manning to push. They are happy to farm up the Shadow Fiend, see what Matu gets. It's more likely going to be something more late game oriented again. And NIP's response is a clockwork. More like a setup here than anything. It's not really a response to any one thing Liquid's drafted here. It feels like more something to complement the Invoker, can set up some Sunstrike ganks around the map, and it's just a fight start to pair with the Weaver Invoker as well.
Yeah, I really like it versus the first 2 heroes of Liquid. You know, Warlock, SF in particular is really threatened by Clockwork and his early presence on the map. But then Rubik Sand King, Clockwork is not quite so good against 2 escape mechanisms against that combination. Rubik even has the early laning phase presence against the Clockwork, able to pull him out of his cogs. See how he does.
Read about potential 4 position clock though, so.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Adding out the dark here, but
10 seconds remaining.
Doesn't strike me as that. I mean, we talked about Hani and how he wants to play greedy. Clockwork isn't really that greedy 4 position. It's much more of like a active, do shit kind of 4-position hero. So if he was going to continue the trend from last game, it more likely see him farm.
I would agree with that. I do like the combination though of Shadow Demon Clockwork. So if they went that round, I'd be okay with it. I agree with your
10 seconds remaining.
players and their attitudes. It feels like Clockwork is very much a Trixie hero, and something else is going to be picked up. Maybe we're going to see another aggro Chilene scenario. Support Clockwork with a Weaver Shadow Demon. Ember Spirit is no. We can't have Ember Spirit 1v1 against Sank. Maybe Weaver is going to be this.
10 seconds remaining.
Ember Spirit is in a Trilane?
Who was so we saw someone do an offlane Ember. I want to say maybe it was Starladder or something, or was it? It wasn't yesterday. We saw offlane Ember, was it? There was one game where I saw a team. They suddenly last pick an Ember when they had their their carry mid already picked. I want to say it may have even been Liquid themselves who like ran an offlane Ember Spirit, and it was just this very bizarre thing. But the hero, I mean, it's like if you can get your levels in that offlane, you can still be. You don't need to have a huge amount of farm as an Ember. Just get some levels, farm off of Veil, which is pretty cheap, cost-effective item. Get a blink later on. Here, this is like a kind of similar draft to last game for NA, where it's very mid-game aggressive centric. Wow. Yeah, this is perhaps a change of tune from Liquid, not gearing up for the late game quite as much, more trying to hit his timing around probably like a Sand King Blink with a couple of Dragon Lancers on Drow and Shadow Fiend, start pushing down some early towers whenever they've got rock up. And I think the key thing for Nip is to fight around that rock cooldown. Like they may lose a fight to a Chaotic Offering, but as soon as that happens, they need to bounce back and immediately put the pedal down and try and take the game to Team Liquid.
5 seconds remaining.
Be doing that offlane Ember Spirit, or if they're going to try and match an aggro Trilane against a Ranger lineup, Rubik and Warlock as supports, that feels a bit dangerous. Arrow's already heading out to the top lane, and Synderen's going to be escorting Trixie, so maybe we could be seeing some sort of dual lane.
Yeah, Synderen on the Clockwork, interestingly, but see what he manages to get done. It kind of a change of tune from Nip putting Hani on that more 5-position role and Synderen onto the 4, but perhaps just a player preference thing with Synderen being more attuned to playing the Clockwork. Probably, I mean, the more niche pick of the two as far as supports go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have early setups here, so yeah, looks like dual lanes. With the Shadow Demon Ember Spirit against SK. That doesn't feel too bad. You need the Shadow Demon in lane to make sure that control doesn't walk over that lane with Alley. Wonder how Clockwork's going to be able to perform as a support helping out Trixie in the bottom lane, though, against this aggro tri-lane. It feels like a lane that he's not going to be able to find those kind of separations. So unless he's purely here just to cog block, and that's his only real objective, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to accomplish.
Yeah, this tri-lane seems like the response to a potential Clockwork presence down here, and this is a lane which should be pretty decently Liquid favored. You're looking at 3 ranged heroes against a Clockwork and a Weaver who doesn't have max range himself. And I like this from Liquid because Sand King doesn't need much help against the dual lane. If it's just the Shadow Demon Ember Spirit, he does very well in a 1v2 scenario. He should be able to get some decent farm up here. Shadow Demon doesn't really pressure him all that much. Now the Shadow Poison, that it isn't a build, it's been nerfed so much. Sand King does even better in this 1v2 matchup, so it does feel like all these lanes are pretty good. And yeah, Synderen, he does the cogs, he TP's top. I think he realizes like he needs to be up here to help zone mind control.
He just tries to give a bit of boost to Trixie's lane, and they can now go for an attempted kill onto Mind Control, who is yet to level anything up, so he should still be okay. Cogs push back here into the chains. Maybe he's not okay. Goes for the early Sandstorm, and they don't actually have any counter vision. Mind Control spotted that one out real quickly and sees his opportunity to win the lane just like that.
It looked like Synderen, I mean, he did make a great play. Got the boots, cut him off with the Cogs pushback, so he couldn't even burrow strike out at that point, but Mind Control with the presence of mind to save that skill point. Needs to be careful now because it is on cooldown, and They've actually got him.
Yeah, they've got another Cogs pushback. Mind control. Actually, no, he just runs straight up and is going to look for the TP out. But with the Flame Guard there, it looks like the damage may still be there. Unless he can actually juke this one out. Sandstorm. Then is he going to run north or south? Because he's got to run one way or the other. He can't just stick around. He's going to run north, try and go deeper into this jungle area. Has the TP skull ready to go, but now Cinderin's locked onto him. Has the Cogs ready to go with the push if necessary. Mind control goes even farther north behind the tower now. Looks to make his way all the way around the tower, and it might just be good unless... Okay, now he's going to put himself... Yeah, okay, he thought there was some way to make that one through, but not able to do so. He will get corralled into a corner, and First Blood goes the way of Hani.
Okay. Now, supports get what they were hoping for, at least in the end there, but very, very odd start to this offlane. You can TP right back in and get a decent amount of XP. There's the double range creep on the enemy side, so ideally for Mind Control, he gets... this wave towards his tower, as long as he can stop Hani from getting the side pull off, and it's like he should be able to at least, keep most of it near himself.
Cinderin still going for another wraparound. I'm also trying to keep my eye on mid, where currently Koifa is suffering in CS, and actually was brought pretty low earlier from Miracle. This one seems to be going a lot better for Miracle than it did last time, again. But to be expected.
Yeah. No, it feels like the laning stage is going really good for Liquid. I mean, the offlane Sanking dying is not really the end of the world. He's now got a full level 3 worth of experience at his tower. The mid lane's being handily won with the help of the Drow Aura. And bottom lane Weaver getting some CS here and there. Not really an easy kill for the Liquid tri lane, but they've still got the Drow free farming. So as far as timings go, Liquid are going to kind of hit theirs pretty nicely, assuming Nip don't make any big aggressive plays.
Well, Mind Control, this time around, Flame Guard's going to be a lot harder to deal with. Does have to Burrow Strike over the trees. Last time he had Sandstorm, and that killed the Flame Guard relatively quickly, but level 2's now up and a big increase HP for that one. Waiting on Cinderin to have his go here on Miracle. See if he can actually get the successful gank leading into a Cogs and a Sunstrike combo, but it doesn't look like he feels comfortable. Miracle holding the right-hand side of the lane is going to start pushing forward, as he did have vision of Cinderin and his earlier. As Cinderin tries to get back to top lane, but is a bit too late. Mind Control. That's what's coming. Trixie is actually going to be playing up against GH here. Followed that Rubik all the way into the mid lane, but a really good telekinesis throws him over to the other side of the river, which GH probably would have died otherwise.
Oh, Miracle gets the invis room before Trixie can deny it, so he's in a good position. He may even turn and kill Trixie. Okay, Trixie. One last Shikuchi, just enough mana. Miracle will be more than okay here. With the Invis rune, he can easily escape any kind of a gank coming in. He's actually keeping Koifa low. I don't think Cinderin can really do all too much here.
Again, every single time this rotation spotted out.
He may double raise him. Koifa.
One, and another one coming in. Invis, but oh no, the raise misses. He doesn't have enough mana for the mid-range raise, so he actually completely misses out on that kill. Now got to be locked inside the Cogs, but Miracle will gladly fight that one out. Telekinesis over the side, and a long-range raise comes in time. This time, Miracle finds the kill. Mind Control, he's done so. He, every single time Cinderin's been spotted out by this ward, which has been so value for them, a lot more aggressively into that duo lane, but looks like his aggression bites back at him. Trying to hunt.
Yeah, perhaps didn't see the sentry wards brought out by Hani or something, but even so, it still feels like he's getting a decent amount of farm and XP out of this lane, already close to level 5, and well, it's not really the end of his game that he's died a couple of times, although has set Error up to be in a very good position as far as his farm goes on Ember. Drill's come in and found Hani once again, going to put some pressure onto him.
They've got GH here with the Caustic Finale pop going down. They are going to be able to pick up this kill, and without a support, Era can't really fight Mind Control either. So nice rotation from GH, well set up by Mind Control.
Yeah, the handy kill to get, and it's top lane getting some assistance now. I mean, Sanking will have an even better time.
Ooh, that's
to be
a
careful,
smoke.
though.
That's a smoke that's immediately spotted by GH's ward behind the tower. May still just have his smoke pop purely by running into GH, it looks like. So, Miracle knows that his life is in danger. Might be a little bit more new for the next 30 seconds.
And there we go. GH will pop it as Hani tries to swoop in towards the mid lane. Miracle wasn't anywhere to be seen anyway, so...
Cinderin, you sneaky bugger, look at you. Gets around Matu, manages to catch him with the Cogs. Is going to be pushed out of said Cogs. Cogs do get a little bit more damage onto Matu, and it looks like they've got him dead. Managed to pick up with the battery assault where he left off. So, nice rotation from Cinderin. Despite all those mid-rotations going awry, thanks to the ward, he finally does find a 6 in bottom.
Yeah, that's a nice kill to get. Drow was just kind of free farming away, hadn't really seen any pressure head her way, and one of the hero's big weaknesses is her real lack of sustain and inability to get away from ganks like that. So finally find a way to kill at least one of the 2 liquid carries and see if they can follow it up with some additional aggression. At some point they do need to prioritize getting Cinder in his level 6. He's still just level 3.5. Bounty runes will help out a little bit, but he may even need like a lane to himself just to get that level 6 at some point soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll see Trixie pick up the call and be the aggressor in one of these side lanes, because the early Weaver can be quite formidable. Shukuchi is not bad damage. The Swarm, as we talked about earlier, is rather devastating. You can't address that bug issue. Dindrin, they know about this one thanks to the dire scan. He's going to try and wrap into the shrine area to catch Miracle here. Now, it is going to be a little bit of tough, and that's why he needs another TP in. They're going to have the Sunstrike on top of the battery assault, and Miracle is down. I'm not sure about that big play of aggression from him.
That was insane. I mean, it's space for bottom lane. I guess his team's telling him, like, all right, we're putting pressure bottom. They may respond to this, but without the Shadow Demon, I'm pretty sure he dies to that. Top lane Era.
Oh, Era! He's got the wand. He's got the Burrow Strike. He's got him.
Yeah.
That is
now the escape isn't really there. Cinderin would love this kill to get him towards that level 6. Mind Control can tuck himself in with the Quelling Blade. Cinderin ready for it, though.
Oh, no, he doesn't have any mana for Battery Assault, so Mind Control's still going to be able to get away.
All right, he's home free. I mean, there's some very weird plays and ganks coming out, especially that Miracle play mid lane is... He's not a player you normally think of as like being divey and going like super aggressive for a kill and trading his life for it. Like that's not a very Miracle-esque play.
3 points of contact. He was dead center right in the middle of that one. But I think you're absolutely right. I think you said the push down at bottom. They probably made the call. Hey, they're probably going to rotate to this. And at the same time, Mind Control was getting very aggressive at top lane. They figured there's going to be rotations to one of these side lanes.
Yeah. Well, the net result is a small win for Liquid. Like they get a tower, they get a kill at top, and they lose SF mid. Like that's still 2 out of those 3 things are good for Liquid. And like Miracle gets some money from the tower. They're pressuring the enemy carry. So like the Ember for the SF trade in itself is like a decent trade-off, and then you get a tower. So I mean, it's not like the end result is terrible for Liquid. It just felt like he could have just farmed that wave without diving the tower while those 2 things happened at top and bottom.
Stacking against the Sand King is always a bit of a scary endeavor. Nip are committing their resources to try and clear through this one right now. Mind Control is going to interrupt, and he does have some backup. He's already told the Drow Ranger and Warlock to TP their way on in. There's great opportunities to be had here. The Sunstrike is going to land on Mind Control, bringing him lower, but he is going to receive a heal now. Trixie, low on mana, is going to bring Mind Control a little bit lower, but not low enough to go for the kill. Instead, they're going to pick up GH. Era's managed to lock him down, and they will throw out the Remnant. GH definitely dodges it, but there's only so much you do on that slow support. Kuro banging the drums in the side, itching for a fight still around this hard camp, but it's already been cleared away by Nip, so lost opportunity there for Liquid.
Yeah, Kuro wants to use that chaotic offering. He's trying to find an opening for it. Again, I think it's a similar call where it's like Miracle just play aggro at mid, really span this wave out, start right-clicking that tower so that we can either get a tower top or even a fight up top while you potentially get a T1 mid tower. Like one of these 2 lanes should end well for Liquid, whether it's a tower or a kill, and right now Mind Control's in a pretty good position to Quelling Blade his way through, potentially even find Hani here.
They turn into an awkward accidental bump. Oh, the Hani actually stops the disruption there. But the silence was forced on Hani. Instead, they are going to be able to hit the hook shot. Cinderin separates Matu from the rest of his team. They're going to be able to lock him down. Again, with the Sunstrike, they make quick work of whatever heroes inside those cogs. Mind Control's going to be next up. Burrows his way deep into the trees and will manage to get that TP. Nicely played. Kuro was the other casualty. Very easily cleaned up by Hani and Trixie.
Great disruption from Hani. Using it on the Warlock, not as a setup, not as a save, but just to stop that Chaotic Offering being dropped down to help the Drow Ranger. Without that Chaotic Offering, the Drow was dead by the time the disruption ended, and at that point, Kura's like, well, there's no point using it, I'm going to save it for a later fight. And couldn't tee out in time as well. So really nicely played by Nip. It is still Miracle farming away. He's going to go for that Shadowblade build again, but that's the kind of trade that they need to be looking for on the Nip side. If they can get a couple of kills like that while Liquid's trying to make plays around the rock, that's going to come a long way as far as keeping them close, as far as the cause and the overall farm goes.
Oh, it's funny. I was watching a couple of Liquid games a couple days ago, prep for the Steam qualifiers, and it's funny. The one thing I felt Liquid did very well is that they had usually had two heroes, two players, and it was different. I think most of the time it was not the same, like off lane and support or something like that. It was two different players, two different heroes that needed to be very aggressive to buy space for somebody else, and we're seeing that kind of idea behind Liquid here, with Liquid's aggressive play at mid, with the way Mind Control plays very much up in the face of Ninjas Pyjamas. It does seem to be one of the strategies and just general maybe principles of Liquid, how to be able to buy space for each other. Nip are going to be able to set up a Sunstrike here on a GH. Quickly right-click him down. Liquid thought they were going to have an opportunity for aggression with that invis, but it turns against them rather starkly.
Yeah, that's good preparation from Nip to have that sentry there, and well, they find that kill here. Miracle's Shadowblade itself is going to be scattered out as Trixie swoops into the jungle. Not a whole lot he can really do to Miracle, but bottom lane is what Nip may have their eyes set on, with a couple of heroes rotating down here, but feels like if they really feels like Nip, if they group up to like push any lane, like let's say bottom lane, they're going to lose like mid tower, potentially top tower as well. Just feels like the damage output between the Shadow Fiend, the Drow, and Sand King's ability to clear waves is going to punish Nip anytime they make any kind of group up kind of play to push a lane.
GH left alone in this bottom lane. A little bit of presence, just keeping this push back, and if Nip commits serious resources to killing him, GH I'm sure won't be too sad. Actually doesn't manage to get the Shikuchi. I think Trixie planning around that one, throws out the swarm. Is one of the plays that Weaver's going to have to do quite a bit here against this Rubik, prevent the steal of Shikuchi.
Yeah. Insta swarm out of the Shikuchi, and Synderen even having the hook shot to stun him, so Nip finding kind of a series of good pickoffs. First at top lane, then they get the Rubik at mid, now they find him at bottom lane as well. They're finding the kills, and Clockwork having this level 6, and Arcane Boots has this constant sustain and ability to keep going for these kills, and don't look like they're done, but unfortunately without that hook shot, they don't really have the best way to initiate onto Miracle up top.
Certainly don't. He takes power. Or Liquid 3-9 right now, 14 minutes in. Nip are well ahead in kills, but it's actually Liquid that are slightly up, about 2,000 net worth right now, and 100 experience. First, they do have the very clear tower lead. Liquid have managed to keep all their towers intact.
Yeah, most of that thing is coming purely from the Shadow Fiend and his net worth, as far as farming through the jungle and multiple lanes, getting some towers for his team, but Quickvis doing his best to kind of keep up. Is going to be going into that straight Aghanims build, but needs to be careful not to get caught out here. Miracle is hunting.
Well, it does seem like maybe Nip have made this read. Nice. They're going to be able to get the disruption, slow him down. The Sunstrike actually misses, but they will still easily kill Miracle with the help of the Soul Catcher. Liquid are trying to put the pressure on mid now, see if they can quickly take this tier 1, but maybe Nip can still make the rotation to stop this. Era's in place, already gets the Veil Discord out. Hookshot misses, though, from Synderen. Able to make the initiation as the rotations came in. Just a Nip. One slight win, or I would actually say that's a pretty moderate win there in the bottom lane, killing Miracle.
Yeah, that really hurts Liquid, I feel, this stage of the game. The lane ward scouting his TP in, and then the immediate TP to the Shrine from Hani was a very heads-up play coming from them. It does look like they may lose this tower slowly without the hook shot. Matu can just kind of freely siege it, but even so, it still feels like a decent result there for Nip killing the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, they are the team that, they're on the opposite side of things, right? They're the team that is going to be losing their towers, and they're going to feel the pressure of Liquid's push lineup, but ultimately they have the better late game, and they're just looking to buy each other time for that point. Pixie running into GH. Up the Swarm. GH turn around, just get telekinesis, and hoping to be able to set up mind control, but the wards are already in place early.
Yeah, not a whole lot of fun on Trixie at this point, but he was that off-lane role weaver, so you're just going to be going for whatever cost-effective items he can get, starting with the Dragon Lance. Going to be much more kind of used for perhaps the utility of the Swarm and just being a maybe more scouting hero who can be pesky, get on top of the supports like the Warlock. An under-farm Warlock will still die to a pretty low-farm Weaver this stage of the game, so he can kind of try and force Kuro to use his spells preemptively and not get off the best chaotic offering in a fight.
Pixie, hook shot, there it is. They're gonna go straight for GH. Mind control does manage to stop some of that damage. Faked out. Kuro actually holding on to the chaotic offering, seeing that GH was definitely dead and is going to wait for a better opportunity. Maybe Trixie here with the silence up. Another stun. Now he's going to drop the chaotic offering. Cinderin comes in, but now the ultimate goes out for Miracle. Era gets bounced back just like that, and Matu actually survives through all of that. Hani is going to be the extra cleanup here. Sunstrike. Oh, he tried to have a guess at where Matu is at invis, but doesn't quite hit him. Koifa not able to get much in return. Nip lose 4, and all they got out of that was that Rubik kill earlier.
It's like that one bad fight against the Drow lineup, or nowadays it's more often against like an SD Luna draft, and you lose not just the fight, but you lose a tower and a Roshan potentially as well. It will bring buildings down very, very quickly. And after this tier 2, if they want, they can fall back to Roshan. Would be a little bit difficult perhaps with the TP to the Shrine. We could see Nip still try and contest it, but Liquid's damage output is more than enough to kill it at a decent time.
Certainly, if Liquid can't do it now, it's going to have to be something that Nip have in mind for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Lose another team fight like that, it probably means the objective in Roshan, which means, talked about last game, right? That first Aegis could be used as leverage to take the tier 2s. Bottom lane, they're going to go for GH. GH gets chained up, unable to steal the Remnant. Will have an escape mechanism there.
Yeah, quite a few deaths on GH this game. He's kind of playing that role where it's like, all right, someone go push out this bottom lane. It's a bit of a dangerous place to be. You don't want to send your Shadow Fiend or Drow down there. All right, let's send the Rubik. And it's unfortunate that Nip are prioritizing killing him as much as they are, but it's not the biggest loss for Liquid at the same time.
Kuro's a little bit bigger of a kill with the Hand of Midas. He's got a little bit more net worth to work with, but he can't finish him off. Now the silence on Trixie. Matu turns the whole thing around with the help of mind control. They will still get that tier 2 at bottom lane, and that is very much needed. Nip are finally getting some tower gold in their coffers, even if it is at the cost of life.
That's a decent bit of control over this bottom side of the map, but I think it's something that Nip have already been kind of asserting their dominance over with or without that tower taken, and Hani now in deep as a Blink Dagger will get found.
He picked up here. Mind control hops the Sandstorm, stopping any disruption. Turns around, tries to get whatever damage. Oh, he actually has him. Oh, the power of Shadow Demon, man.
Wow. Okay.
What a
There's
silly
illusions
Shadow Demon
plus
is.
Soul Catcher, yeah.
Hard 5 position counters your 1 position. Doesn't really matter what hero most of the time does that.
It reminds me of the best was the Spectre ones, where you find like you can solo kill a Spectre as a Shadow Demon with the Dispersion Soul Catcher illusions.
Yeah.
But that is, yeah, Shadow Demon things. Who needs Shadow Poison these days with this 4-4-0 build?
Oh, that's another big pickup. Miracle has been picked off a number of times now, and it can be seen in this net worth chart where Liquid, they're holding on to this constant lead, yes, but they have the tower advantage. They have this pushing lineup. They're supposed to be ahead, and I don't think they're getting far enough ahead as they feel like should. Only 4K gold and about 3,000 experience at this point. Trixie coming in with a double damage, trying to threaten mind control. Another Sunstrike is going to be off point. Oh, Trixie commits, but can't quite finish him off. Now Era's going to make some commitment of his own, but he's beaten back by Miracle, now stunned up, and he may lose his life. It costs mind control his own, but that's okay. The Ember Spirit was well worth it. Cinderace comes in, hits the hook shot onto the friendly creep, but does manage to close the distance with Miracle, hoping to be able to lock him down with the Meteor. They've got him down. That is big. Nip actually buying back now as Era sees the opportunity, and it's a big one too. They can get Matu here as well. The Sunstrike, this time it'll be on point. Koifa picks up the triple kill, and a buyback from Era in part help lead to a big win for Ninjas the Pyjamas. They get some control, they get some kills, and they might just have a tier 2 tower as well.
It's such a team fight set up there. Trixie carrying the dust for his team to go on the Sand King at the start, and Koifa landing all of his spells. The perfect meteor thanks to Cinderace's hook shot onto the SF, hitting the Sunstrikes as well. And that's a tier 2 tower into Roshan most likely. They group up around the shrine, possibly even want to pop that one before they go for it, and this is very much a much more even, if not nip-favored state of game now after that fight.
This is going to be a bit dangerous, this Roshan. Can they do it? Oh, I guess they've got Weaver, but I forgot about that. They do it so quick. I was like, I don't know. They've still got this tier 1 Enshrine. Maybe Liquid can get there in time. At the most they could do, it looks like at this point, is get some sort of rebuttal kills to Aegis being picked up, but not even that's going to happen. Disruption goes down. Cinderace is still going to be silenced up. They're going to try and kill him from a distance, but not wanting to fully commit to that kill as the team following would be quite nasty. They have to deal with an Aegis Ember Spirit now. That is really only second to probably Storm Spirit when it comes to feared Aegis holders.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's going to be a big problem for them as far as Era goes. And with this Blink Dagger, you can start playing hyper aggressive by just blinking in, not having to worry too much. Can have the Fire Remnants to escape, can use them aggressively when he's got the Aegis. On the Aegis respawn, you can often blink out from tough situations, so for Nip, they're going to have a very high level Invoker about to hit level 20, so his spell's starting to look very potent. And he's got 5.2 gold, so we're going to see a major item pickup soon for Koifa. And that's going to make this game a whole lot more difficult for Liquid, who, I mean, as much as they don't really want to play that, go for the late game, it does feel like they almost need to with the Drow, Shadow Fiend, try and focus on more like the BKB timings of these two heroes. They're both going for that as their next major item, and I think this is them like respecting, they're now at this point in the game where they can't fight the Ember Invoker. The Sunstrike Meteor combo is doing too much damage, the Ember himself just does too much magic damage. Until they get BKBs, they've got to avoid fights.
Lincoln's complete for this Invoker. He's going to be harder to bring down. So not only do you have the Aegis on Ember Spirit, you have this nice defensive pickup for Koifa that can now initiation of the Sand King. That Burrow Strike does get countered up by the Lincolns. So Nip, they definitely see they're in the advantage. They want to try and force some sort of fight here. And failing that, they'll just take the mid one tower. It looks like Liquid will be giving it up. As you said, waiting on those BKBs. They all have queued up in their quick buys.
I mean, they've got the Rock, but I don't think that necessarily is enough to fight with. And speaking of which, Kuro is found. 40 seconds without Warlock means this last tier 2 tower, possibly Shrines, or even a slight high ground attempt could come out of Nip. GH wants the Courier.
Takeoff turns into tier 2. He's got it. Bring forward. And he does. Nice pickup. Unfortunately, no items on it. Still good enough. Matu trying to get himself that BKB. Has the Mythful Hammer coming up. And Nip are actually forced away from that push. Looks like Mind Control's presence by himself was enough to keep Nip wary of that. Oh, nice catch up. Disruption right before the TP cancel out. Miracle will be ripped apart by his own illusions.
It feels like Miracle is just kind of not having, I mean, he's just straight up not having his best game. Like a few misplays from him, missing the kill early on the Invoker where he didn't hit that second raise after the Ghost Walk. I mean, he could have used it earlier. The death at mid, plays like that. He's just not really on point. Like, this isn't the Miracle like you expect to see when he's playing for Team Liquid or any team for that matter. And it's right now hurting Liquid a lot.
No, you're in trouble when GH is spending his time cliff jungling. Koifa's gonna come across, he's like, what the hell? Why is that camp missing, guys? He just throws out tornadoes and sunstrikes. He's like, somebody had to be here, but GH has already made his exit.
Yeah, desperate times. But this is, I mean, I feel like this is where Nip need to improve on what happened last game. Like they've got this edge, they've got the Aegis now, and they fell short last game because they were just like too passive at a certain stage. Well, not even that they were too passive. It was like Liquid were reading the move around the map, and they weren't able to translate an advantage into objectives, into a decisively won game, and that's what they need to be doing now. Even though their lamp can scale, they've reached a peak now. The BKBs aren't up just yet. They've got an Aegis. There's no point giving Liquid the time and space to finish the BKB on Shadow Fiend if you can push now.
Silence onto Trixie, but they are going to be able to get the Cinder and Hulk in with double inside the cogs. If Eric can actually get inside there, they can lay out some big-time damage. The BKB is activated, and now they have the Epicenter canner. Cinderin tries to make his way back, but is going to be caught by GH into a Burrow Strike. That'll be a 1 kill, but Era actually turns back in, tries to go for Miracle, but now he's been silenced up, and he's going to be losing that Aegis unless the disruption save from Hani can buy him some time. Koifa comes in. Nice Ice Wall there, holding Miracle in place. Era will finally lose his Aegis, but that's okay. They got one big core out of Liquid, and they look to catch more. Mind Control gets away. Matu is going to be just as lucky. The Invis saves his life. Another silence, turnaround play, but Nip can protect their carry without too many issues here. Shukuchi and Disruption picked up IGH as the stone ability, and that did not feel too great for Nip. They got the Miracle kill, but they lost the Aegis at the same time.
Yeah,
feels like a small win for them.
It wasn't the cleanest execution. I mean, the Drow BKB was the big turnaround point where Liquid could kind of stand their ground and fight. The Warlock not dying in the hookshot meant that he at least got off a decent chaotic offering, got the Fatal Bonds off, and allowed the Drow to just kind of sit there doing some decent damage output. But yeah, Nip killing Miracle again, so they slow down his BKB and they can try and take advantage of him falling behind and farm. Invoker is like 5.6k net worth ahead of SF. To think that like 15 minutes in the game, SF was ahead by 2 or 3k net worth. Things have changed a lot, but this is still going to take a bit more from Nip to secure this game. Like they're going to have Quakefa scaling very well into the late game, but Liquid themselves, if they can get SF and Drow a couple more items post BKB, will be able to fight into the Invoker still.
What I did like about Nip, because you're right, the teamfight execution wasn't the cleanest, I just think on both sides, but what I did really like about Nip was the way that they were able to make the call, whether it was coincidental or not, to back away from that Epicenter. Felt like the Mind Control's initiation was really wasted. He kind of jumped in, tried to make his Burrow Strike play. He maybe caught a little bit of damage on Era and Syndrin, but it wasn't hugely impactful, like hoping with that team.
Yeah.
As a result, Nip come out on top. They're going to have a very farmed Invoker. And this is the kind of Koifa that we're talking about here. He is a greedier core, but in part, it's because of his late game performance on some of these scaling heroes that's the reason he wants to play that way. It is his, in a way, specialty. And level 22 Invoker rapidly approaching level 25. Nip have to be feeling pretty good about their chances closing out this game 2 and forcing a game 3.
Yeah, I mean, late game is where Koifa as a player shines. Like post 30, 40 minutes is where Koifa is really in his prime, when he's got the items to work around, when he feels like he can just do a lot independent of his own team. Not to like discredit him or anything, like he's like a solo kind of oriented player, but it's more just his style, where he likes to be playing that more farm oriented role, whereas Era is going to be the one initiating, playing around the team, creating the space. But now Nip to get that Octarine core. Yep, they're going to have it now with level 22, soon to be level 25 Talon Invoker over maybe like by the 32, 33 minute mark. They're going to be very, very strong. They don't manage to take any serious damage to the Liquid side. I mean, they take out one of the 2 shrines. They've managed to get a decent amount done before the SF BKB, but with the SF BKB now complete, Miracle is not going to be that easy free kill in a team fight.
Yeah, certainly not. And I think that's where initiation really comes to a point for Nip. If they can still get a good initiation and maybe even a disruption on that SF.
Come Liquid.
Nice, Trixie popping that smoke. Well played with the Shukuchi. Will get out, no problem. The shrine will be protected, it seems, by Liquid. They know how important this shrine is above all else to be able to control that Roshan pit. Can't afford to give up another Aegis. Trixie, it looks like he got caught, though. Mind Control and Matu. Maybe it was with the gem of Mind Controls managed to spot him out, get a big kill, and he just happened to force staff himself straight into a ward as well. So, small little pickups there by Liquid, setting themselves up for a good Roshan fight in the coming minutes.
And it's just like a good location to fight because you know NIP are there, grouped up as 5, and you feel like you can get a jump on them, which is something that Liquid haven't been able to do too much this game, and perhaps catch them by surprise. BKB of the Shadow Fiend. Kind of double damage rune now, ideally looking to bottle this one. Not sure if they don't actually have any bottles left, so just going to pick it up and probably take this tier 2 tower mid. Can't take any shrines still, there's still a tower at bottom lane, so they are a bit more limited in their options as far as Liquid go.
Miracle starts coming forward. They do have the Remnant. They are hoping to be able to jump something, but it's an illusion. They jump instead. Now Synderen managed to get the hook and a Force Staff away. Still eliminated, though, by Miracle's physical damage. Miracle has to make his way out of this one, though. It's going to pop the ultimate towards the end of his BKB, but on the left-hand side, Mind Control's been caught by Era and Koifa. Now Matu, slowed down by the Purge of Trixie, is going to force into a BKB of his own. Very rapidly, the defensive power of Liquid is dwindling. Matu, he actually managed to get the TP out, but Miracle won't be as lucky. He gets a disruption out from Hani, and the team is just going to Lamb Blast him. With all that damage, they're going to be able to pull him down to his death, and GH very likely to follow him to the grave as well, as Hani and Era manage to snatch him out near the Ancients. 3 down, all in exchange for just little old Synderen, who made that nice initiation. What illusion was that? Was that a disruption bait?
You mean at the start? I
Yeah.
didn't see what that was, no.
I think it was an invoker illusion, in which case it had to have been disruption bait.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, SF popping his BKB just for that clockwork kill means he's suddenly behind the tower in a really deep position, and he's committed his BKB. At that point, he felt like, oh, I've got my BKB. I feel obliged to just throw a Requiem because he probably figures he's not going to get one off later when the BKB wears off. But he got probably very minimal damage out of that Requiem based on Nip just splitting up and dispersing. They were off chasing the Sand King, so not really the ideal teamfight execution from Liquid. And as you mentioned, that illusion, the illusion bait from the disruption, really just setting Nip up for a great fight.
I think Nip have a pretty good read of what Liquid's feeling right now. I think Liquid are pretty desperate to make things work. You know, they just got that BKB. They picked up the double damage. You know, there's all these sort of things. It's like, guys, we got to win a fight right now, because ultimately we're a Draw Ranger lineup that isn't pushing towers and an SF lineup that isn't actually farming. This game is very rapidly going down the drain for us, and Nip are just getting stronger and stronger, as can be seen. Trixie, who picked up a Diffuser Blade not so long ago, now has a fresh BKB coming into the Koifa. Click on him is now level 23 with that Octarine core and another 2,800 gold to back it up.
Yeah, that 25 is coming very, very soon, and he's going to be a big, big problem. These BKBs are getting shorter and shorter as the time goes on. Matu's down to 8 seconds. Miracle's only used his once, but it feels like if the next fight or two don't go like convincingly well for Liquid, it does feel like their lineup is going to kind of just be past its final peak, and then it's going to be old Nip in the late game.
5-man smoke up. They almost run into Koifa. They actually burrow strike forward. I think his smoke popped, so he wanted to move forward, but now Nip see everything, and Mind Control's the one in trouble. Force Staff's away, but a nice hook shot. Synderen catches 2, but can't get the cogs off and just gets eliminated. GH manages to get the quick burrow strike. Mind Control leading Arrow on a merry chase here with his Force Staff. Will finally be brought down. Crow tried to come in and give him a heal, but now he's in the wrong position against Koifa and Trixie. He will be duoed up. They actually have the vision of Miracle. He's going to be forced to pop his BKB, try and TP out. He is good. Is Matu going to be able to get away as well? BKB, TP out, no disables, just physical damage, which was still almost enough. GH, he's also going to make an escape with the stolen hook shot they got from Synderen.
And that's such a bad spot for your smoke to be popped. Like, you're low ground, the Invoker's on the high ground, and he's invis, and you've just lost your gem. Like, Sand King no longer had the gem. He lost that in the last fight, so vision right now is a big problem for Liquid, and I think they needed to just, I guess, ideally want to approach that smoke differently so that they're not going low ground to high ground, but at the same time, they know Nip that top side of the map. They just didn't know that Invoker was kind of straggling behind and was going to actually be in the perfect position to catch them out in that low ground position and give his team all the info they needed to turn that fight around.
It really was the perfect time, right? 2 seconds earlier, they probably run into Koifa before he's past that high ground area and is running to the left side, and they actually get a quick pick, and 2 seconds later,
Yeah.
Koifa isn't actually popping that smoke.
Yeah, either of those two, and I think it could have been a very different scenario for Liquid. Like, the killing the Invoker scenario is absolutely fantastic for them, and even if you manage to just get onto that high ground without the smoke popping and then able to take a fight to the left where the rest of the Nip side was, it could have been a very different fight all in all, with like getting mind control with the Burrow Strike initiation followed up with a Requiem, burst down a target to start things off, but as it stands, Nip now get themselves another Aegis and looking very good to start thinking about closing out this game. They haven't got the best pushing lineup, like the Invoker with the Alacrity on either himself or put it on a Weaver is at least decent push, but the Liquid team fight high ground defense is something they will still likely respect.
They're going to have to take it nice and slow. Just where Alacrity on a Siege Creep comes in. Horde Spirits also doing their pushing power. They're going to have Trixie on the front lines. It seems with his BKB and his time lapse, he should be a decent hero to chip away that tower. Liquid probably shouldn't be able to get a quick kill on him and rebuff this push.
Yeah, Era's got a BKB, so even if he dies once to the Aegis, he can pop that on the respawn, and it does feel like Nip, as mentioned, just slow sieging things here. Another Forward Spirit coming in, couple right clicks with an Alacrity, resummon them, and just rinse repeat. Slow and steady. Tower goes down.
Man, smoke on the side is going to wear out. Mind control did not see his opportunity for an initiation, and now they may actually get caught. That Observer Ward placed out by Nip. They knew how important it was to be able to see the rotations across when they go for this bottom lane push, so that ward counter ward combination, it's a nice setup. Miracle takes a bit of damage here for the Cold Snap. They're going to pop their first shrine now of the defense of Liquid against Nip.
It's a question of how patient will Nip be. At some point, will they try and force a fight? Will they stick a hero actually onto the racks? But right now, it seems like they're happy just to slowly chip at the range racks.
DH throws out that stolen hook shot. It's like it was out to fade anyway. Nip are actually going to back away for a second here, and Era's going to deal with that top lane push.
No. Very hard to initiate onto the Nip side. They've got that Shadow Demon who's just always sitting behind, has that extra cast range from his level 15 talent, can just put someone down in disruption. And GH at this point just kind of showing off as he's a bit bored. It does lose the hook shot now.
Alright, Nip's got that top lane pushing out again. Era will rejoin his team. Their 5-man efforts into...
I'll take that.
I mean, if they can just keep on stalling this out to the A's, I mean, they've still got another minute and a half, but at this rate, they won't even take a melee racks in that minute and a half. Nip need to make a more concerted, aggressive attempt. Not even onto the buildings necessarily, even just starting and forcing a fight with a hook shot. Maybe something they just have to do at some point. For now, they're just trying to slow siege using disruption illusions.
Trixie gets a little bit more aggressive with the Alacrity. Will finish off that range racks, but it is just a range racks. Liquid won't be too scared of that. It's the melee racks. That is the prize then. Aging bit by bit is not good enough against that regen, so we'll see if they make another concerted effort here as the push comes forward. The disruption. Even backdoor protection still up. Matu will take a decent amount of damage, down to half health now as Trixie comes forward, pops his BKB, threatening Matu's life, but he does get a 4-step back. Now with Matu healing, Nip can get some more damage onto that melee racks, but the rest of Liquid start coming forward, chasing Nip back.
And they're struggling to get this racked. I mean, they're still in a fine position, don't get me wrong, but Liquid are making them work for it, showing some world-class high ground defense with the SF illusions.
Oh, that's definitely a big one.
Not putting onto the racks, they will get taken out. Just zoning the SF out, knowing that this will free up the space.
Oh, there it is. The Epic initiation. Epi onto Koifa, but the Lincolns managed to protect him for the Burrow Strike, so there wasn't any real good hold. They finally get a Yule Scepter onto Koifa, but he managed to get down to way with a Ghost Walk. Oh, Cinderin. He was halfway through the hookshot animation to be able to get away from this one. Mind Control's been stunned up. Does get out another stun, but Koifa blocks it again with the Lincolns, and now they've got a disruption onto a Draw Ranger with Miracle slowed down on the side. This is rapidly turning disastrous for Liquid as they come out immediately get rebuffed. They just get taken out like that with a Meteor combination. They lose Matu. They got to drop GH as well. Miracle's left alone now to defend against Nip unless they want to buy back on Matu. Kuro still having the chaotic offering, but it seems like they'll give up the melee racks and try and keep these buybacks intact, or at least waiting for a better opportunity when Mind Control and GH are back up. But all during that 30 seconds, Nip can take a lot.
Even with the buyback, they still want to take this Rax in mid lane. They've taken at least the tower, and with the Alacrity Invoker, they can take more.
Miracle comes forward. Now the chaotic offering. They look to blow up Koifa. They've got him dead. 90 seconds down. But Nip have bought everything they needed with that Aegis push. They forced a buyback. They got a lane of racks. They really don't need more. So a full retreat out from them. Make sure Liquid don't catch anything else but the Koifa death. Liquid are now going to be scrambling in turn to try and take objectives during this downtime for the Invoker.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tier 2 tower bottom, but perhaps the bigger objective is forcing that Invoker buyback. You think, how do we win this game considering how rough things have been looking for the last 15-20 minutes? And I think it comes from forcing that Invoker buyback and finding a pick-off on him at a later time. You may even pay for that Invoker buyback with like a death here. If Synderen catches someone with a hook shot as Invoker buys back, that could be a really tough one. Potentially can even hold this without the buyback. That's really the ideal scenario for them. They just want to keep doing that cogs on the high ground. Eric can try and keep spamming it out. It's very difficult to force high ground even with Invoker dead.
Physical damage is still pretty formidable for Liquid. It's the tier 3 is beginning to drop. 30 seconds left for Koifa's Invoker. Nip, are they going to give in to this pressure? Now Hani going to be caught. They're going to be able to get the Burrow Strike onto him. Shrine activated, but it's not enough to save him. But Synderen managed to get the hook shot onto 2, locking them in. But they both get a force staff outside of the cogs. BKB activated, but Miracle can't make his way out like Matu can. He's too low HP, so he turns around, tries to go for the ultimate. Tornado! Oh, it was just a sliver away from catching Kuro as well. The buyback was forced, though, and you said, gods, that gives Liquid a glimmer of hope. Even if it costs them a death and maybe a buyback of their own, at least they have a chance at an endgame scenario, was before we didn't see that same kind of light.
Yeah, it creates a win condition for them, which is what was just completely, it seems, lacking for the last 20 minutes. It feels like they've just been unable to really do lot. Quick's just been quietly farming his way to level 25 6-slot Invoker, but now we're looking at potential SF buyback. They're going to be on the ropes themselves with an SF buyback, but at least a kill on Quick that could set them up for success.
For staff over the cogs, then a push back. Now Era actually commits here forward with the BKB. Double Remnant use. Kuro, he's going to be caught inside the shrine. He's taken apart. Synderen, similar story here. He has a Ghost Scepter to fall back on. A disruption. Hook, but he hooks into his own illusions. Won't be able to make it out. Mind Control gets taken out, though. Trixie's up next with the silence. Not able to do enough, though. Matu can't output the damage. They're trying to hold on to this buyback of Miracles and use Mind Controls instead, missing out on the stun on Trixie. Now Matu in serious trouble. Gets silence up. Push back. The combination is there, but a disruption save from GH is not going to be enough. A tornado catches Matu on the way out. Trixie will help clean it up. Now they're left with no buyback on the Draw Ranger for 90 seconds, and it seems like that win condition, that small little opportunity that Liquid have, now closed. They're going to come back in the SF, but they will still have to fight this one at bare minimum. 4 versus 4. Jump in, epicenter combination, it pulls out Trixie. They do manage to hold at least one telekinesis forward. They go for Invoker. He gets a Yule Scepter, manages to get away with a Ghost Walk, it looks like. Nip are still going to pursue, but it seems like he is too far away. Yeah, missing out on the Burrow Strike, turn around, Scythe, and a Tornado Strike? No, Mind Control's not out low.
Yeah, he had the Lincoln Sphere anyways for the Burrow Strike was close, but then I'm like, alright, Dexy, that wouldn't have mattered too much, but this is... Well, I mean, there's still some small hope for Liquid. You've got an Invoker without buy. I think if you give Nip the space to get those buybacks back up and another Roshan, then that hope disappears. But this, like, 1 minute window where they're going to have Drow back alive before Roche respawns. Luckily for them, it's a very slow Roche respawn. Invoker would love to get the Aegis to make up for not having buyback for 4 minutes, but with 5 men alive, there's an ever so slight hope for this Liquid side. They picked up a Vlad's on Kuro. They're going for whatever cheap, cost-effective items they can. And they really just have like this, it's not even like they've got one fight left, it just feels like they've got this very short 3-4 minute period of time where they've got to make something happen.
Miracle felt like he had to scout out Roshan, but now he's low with the BKB. Pops the BKB, lets it out, does force Synderen away, but that's now a big team fight ultimate that's on cooldown. Miracle still is yet to make a full escape if he's not careful. it may be able to take advantage of this one. Roshan is still not up. Liquid very rightly feared that it was already up and Nip were doing it, but unfortunately for Nip, they're going to have to wait for a full 5-on-5 to be able to take that Aegis.
Well, luckily, SF even gets a chance to heal up a bit more, or this potential Roche fight goes down. A Ranger, though, still trapped at this bottom lane, which is a bit of an issue for Liquid.
Yeah. Tries to push the lane out as much as he can before this fight is going to... Bit of a dancing game there between Mind Control and Era. Era, who does not have a Lincoln's, a little bit more susceptible to that initiation. Combo stuns from Liquid. Nip, I like this play a lot. They're going to take the high ground where the former Dire Shrine was, and it's Liquid who are going to now take the low ground with their smoke out. They run into Hani, manage to get the initiation there, but it's just a support. They can bring him down. Almost. No one gets a force staff to the high ground. Synderen pops the Ghost Scepter, and their initiation from Liquid doesn't actually catch anything. Now Mind Control stuck out in the high ground. He's done for. Era comes in big, gets a lot of damage on Matu, tries to go for a desperate TP out, but doesn't actually make it. With this high ground advantage, Liquid can't output any damage. Kuro, he gets a force staff to the high ground, quickly followed up by Trixie, takes him down. Triple kill for the Trickster. And now it's going to be Nip. All 5-man up, 3 down on Liquid. None of them have buybacks. This should be Megas.
Yeah, they're going straight for the racks. They'll even fight their way through backdoor protection if they have to. And, well, it's not even activated as... Not sure what creeps from the base, but hey. At this point, I don't think it really matters, as Nip will, in theory, secure themselves this Game 2 victory. It's not quite over just yet. Liquid will make them play it out as they do threaten to go for some split push in mid lane, but throne play is going to be the end of Liquid if they don't come back to defend.
The stolen disruption from GH will give a lot more credibility to this push, as backdoor protection is down from a single range creep and siege creep, but tier 4 is already dead, and these heroes are being threatened now by Hani alone. Throws out the ultimate miracle. He knows the end game is nigh. And throne is going to fall. That's it. GG is called. Liquid lose game number 2. Ninjas Pyjamas tie the series up, and we're going to go to our first game 3 in the DAC European qualifiers.
Yeah, it was a very solid game 2 showing from Nip, showing an ability to fight into the team fight. That tier 1 top defend was probably like for me, one of the more pivotal moments where they took the fight to Liquid. They killed the Warlock, the Sand King, and really slowed down Liquid's ability to push and take control of the game by pushing down towers, using their Drow strat to get the map control. And Nip just managed to take it late game. I mean, they had Koikva do his thing on the Invoker, and
Liquid versus NIP, the first game 3 we've had of the DAC European qualifiers, and a little bit surprising that it's this series that offers a 1-to-1 and heads into a game 3, because initially we would have expected Team Liquid. We talked about it yesterday. They were the favorite of Group B, right, David?
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear, like based on the recent results, they were the team to look out for.
Radiant team ban.
This lineup looks to be the weakest of the various iterations of Cinderen's team, but they're able to put a game 2 win over Liquid like that. Maybe on paper is just that, only on paper, and in execution this team can be a whole lot more.
Yeah, for you, did NIP like kind of outperform your expectations in that game 2, or did Liquid kind of not live up to our expectations, I guess?
For me, I think it was a combination of both. I mean, we definitely hit on Miracle quite a bit. That Miracle performance probably wasn't what we were used to seeing. But I think Liquid as a whole, there was plenty of missed opportunities, especially given, I think the start was pretty good, right? We talked about how Miracle got really aggressive that mid play, but we also had, at the same time, Mind Control picking up a solo kill on Era. We had the bottom tier 1 tower being taken out. That even with that play, everything still looked on point for Liquid, but then it came to execution in some of these team fights, and it seemed like some things were off. Some of the initiations weren't there. From Mind Control, there was that mid lane fight that happened that was, I think, a potential turning point for Liquid rather early on, where things started spiraling against them, and then they had this opportunity with the BKB Dura Ranger and this Blink Epicenter in, but they didn't really connect. And part of that is Liquid failing to perform, but part of that is also Ninjas and Pyjamas playing well in those team fights. I think spacing was something that they did very well for themselves a lot of the fights.
Yeah, I think there was some element of like the old Boston Major Liquid showing up, whereas like they never did well with the Drow Luna strats. For a while they were putting Kuro onto those carry heroes just because they felt like him as leader and captain of the team could help control the game better through that. But I think as much credit goes to NIP, because they were really disrupting the flow of the game, initiating really well, preventing Liquid's push timings from actually happening. So we'll see how they adjust here in game 3. Similar-ish stuff from NIP. I mean, going very early on into the Invoker, wanting to make sure they get up that key hero for Quake, but for Liquid, Coddle Brewmaster, disruptive hero in the Brewmaster, something that can initiate and start fights well for them. And Coddle's one of those, Coddle's one of those supports which has been seeing a lot of success when it's played over this current patch.
Yeah, it does seem, especially certain teams, really like that. What was that series yesterday? It was Alliance versus Odd9.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, Coddle was one of the bird heroes for of those teams. Seems like some teams really do have the Keeper of the Light in this patch, and it provides the right kind of things, right? It gives you pushing power from a support, which usually have wave clear. It gives you some really formidable team fights at times if you're able to get the right kind of Illuminate Blast. Single Illuminate Blast, well placed, can actually change the entire engagement. It gives you some later game counters and control through Blinding Light and Chakra Magic. And I think probably one of the most important aspects, right, is the opportunity to split push with heroes that normally would not be able to, thanks to that recall.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Very strategically really shuts down a lot of picks. The Blinding Light stops a lot of those heavy right-clicking carries, and yeah, the recall can be very important in certain styles of gameplay, and that's something which Miracle can be very split push heavy when he's playing a hero that he thinks can get away with it. So being able to recall him into a fight, it means the hero is not split pushing, can actually do more on the map. Often if you've got that carry split pushing, the rest of the team's sitting around like, well, I guess we'll just hug our tower and wait till we know what the enemy's doing, but you can actually make aggressive plays when you've got that Coddle to recall your carry in. So that's something which a Brewmaster team wants to do. They want to be kind of smoking up, looking for that initiation, get the Brewmaster split, and then bring in that big hard hitter.
Kind of the theory crafting that we did around Wisp as well in 7.0, a combination of body runes and also the idea that if we're going to be doing a lot of 5-manning, a lot of team fighting, it would behoove you to be able to have certain heroes that'll still allow you to split push while being able to maintain that 5-man presence. We've seen plenty of other mobile heroes be picked up in part because of that, but it seems like Wisp has kind of fallen short in that regard, and Keeper of the Light been the big win. And Rubik is going to be the third pick up after the Weaver pick from Pyjamas. Again, very similar lineup
5
to
seconds
game
remaining.
2 with Nyx Assassin popped out. I'm presuming into the off lane
Reserve
position, but who knows? Maybe it's a Nyx Assassin support, and we'll still.
Yeah, some slight flexibility there if they feel like there's some kind of key hero they want to pair up for the offlane, like a Darkseer kind of pick could kind of stand out as one of the more team fight lane pressuring heroes that is still available that they may want to run the offlane, but they'll definitely be a bit greedier having a Nyx support. Even against the Coddle Illuminate, it can be very good.
Disruptor.
Oops.
Liquid's turn
Whoop.
to pick.
That's fine. We'll just talk you through it.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
It's strong lanes, I guess, is the one thing they've got okay chase with like a Weaver to help like get the vision to glimpse people back, but immediately Liquid get a core that isn't too scared of the glimpse, and the Juggernaut also a hero with some pushing power, not like amazing in itself, but at least has that guaranteed slow siege with the Blade Fury, right click down buildings, healing ward to help sustain your push. I do imagine that whatever the secondary core to go with this, probably the Miracle hero is also going to have some good carry potential as well. They seem to like running both Miracle and Matu on good late game heroes.
Reserve time. Liquid's turn to ban.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
These
Liquid's
Ursa
turn
ban,
to
they're thinking, okay, they're expecting the Trixie offlane Weaver, the 4th position Nyx, and we've seen both Era and Trixie play the Weaver in this series, so it could be either. I think Trixie was very effective last game on that Weaver. He was often in deep positions, scouting out smoke ganks. He was getting the information for his team. Like sometimes he'd die first in a fight and not do much more than throw out a swarm, but just for the sheer scouting information he got his team, he was very useful. But similarly, Nyx does the same thing with Vendetta, so it's not like you have to play that Weaver in a similar role this game necessarily. So I'm not a big fan of the 4 position Nyx Assassin. Like, it's just a hero that doesn't do enough in the early game laning stage. He doesn't roam all that well. He just kind of harasses a bit whichever lane he goes to until he hits level 6, and he can ideally start ganking, but even then he doesn't really have the mana pool if he hasn't farmed Arcane Boots. So I think the 4 position Nyx can be hard to play. Interesting. So like
Actually,
yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
So
I mean,
a lot of TA at the start of the patch. I remember Sumail played it like going back to like that China top tournament, which was one of the first tournaments on this patch. He played like every game, dire side TA, abused the Ancients being right next to that mid lane tier 1 tower to farm the Ancients, shrine up when he needed. Like he was playing this super farming efficient TA style, and it just kind of fell off as a pick. It felt like it was winning most of the games I was seeing it played, especially on the dire side, but a hero that Miracle is going to bring back in this game.
no, I'm kind of down with a safe lane Weaver now because of that Templar Assassin. There is not a dramatic amount of control offered by Liquid's team, and a faster Lincoln's would prevent most of that control by
10 seconds
Telkis,
remaining.
Akra, or Analik. Those kind of issues can be dealt with. So yeah, they're going to go for it. They're going to go ahead and run the Nyx Assassin off lane, turn this into a safe lane Weaver as opposed to the off lane Weaver that we saw last game, and get a really big controlling hero, one that has not been seen a whole lot, a Bane.
Yeah, so we talk about limited mana lockdown. Bane's another hero that can kind of take advantage of that. There is an easy steal in the Fiend script for Rubik, but I mean, if you somehow get Rubik out of the picture, I mean, Bane can easily lock down a Templar Assassin with Grip, and Feeble can be very effective this game, as can the Nightmare. So this is a pretty good game to be playing Bane. Don't really have, like, they've kind of got two traditional 5-position supports in Bane and Disruptor, but I don't think that's necessarily an issue for them, based on how well the Invoker can scale. I think the thing is that Era needs to do more than he did in his Game 1 Weaver. The Game 1 Weaver, he went very defensive with his items, had both Lincolns and BKB. I think he needs to be doing a bit more damage output. There is control from him. When there's nothing really that threatens you, you shouldn't be going these defensive items. You should be going and trying to take advantage of that by going for that like Deso type build.
Are you thinking Deso first up, or would you like to see the Lincolns and the Deso? Obviously, we want a different build from last.
Yeah, I think the overall idea, maybe you get one safe item like a Dragon Lance or something, so you get a bit of HP and stats into the Desolator, or you go like the Perseverance into the Desolator, so you at least have that HP mana regen. But I think the general idea is that you at least one of his first two main items, to me, should be something with some damage output.
I'm with you on the Dragon Lance. I think I'd like to see the Ring of Aquila, Dragon Lance, and then Deso build. You've got some regen, you've got some decent stats there, and then you've got that big damage output, which is particularly threatened to some of these heroes. If they can get the control on Brewmaster, blow him up before he gets off his ultimate, that is going to be key to many of the team fights. But there's also the Juggernaut, whose Blade Fury can actually play against him. If he ends up going into a fight, Blade Fury, and all of a sudden there's this swarm of physical damage that is threatening his life, he can't actually get the Omni Slash off because he's still spinning. Era ends up running into GH and Mind Control, takes a smidge of damage from that one. Trixie running back from Kuro and Matu, who are looking to be able to chase him down. Turn around, goes for the stun, but a spin is already there. We'll be able to pick up the Bounty Rune, steals that one away, and gets a lot of damage in return, but an early TP. What? How did Syndra have a TP already? Sunstrike coming in. Okay, that didn't really seem to really hit the mark, but with the stun, it is going to be enough damage. First blood goes to Syndra, and the second Bounty Rune will be picked up by Kuro, but still going to get a lot of damage on Kuro during this whole entire time.
Damn, a Syndrome with the level 1 TP. The Shrine, that is a play I have not seen happen on this new patch, but it makes total sense. They contest that. For teams who contest the Bounty Runes by your Shrine, go and TP in and punish them for it. And Syndrome, that's exactly what he does there. Yeah, Era had the similar idea. He wanted to try and contest the enemy one, but as soon as he ran to those heroes, decides against it. But good start getting the first blood for Nip.
So a dual lane here of a Brewmaster and Keeper of the Light. I think this is one of the more powerful duos that we don't really expect to see a whole lot, but the combination of claps, thanks to Chakra Magic, that is going to allow Mind Control a decent amount of laning phase presence. We'll see if it's enough to deal with the Weaver Disruptor. Yeah. Meanwhile, in mid, Cinderin is going to be poking his head in here against Miracle, trying to get some out. Obviously, he doesn't have Nightmare yet, so real control is just a bit of harassment.
And I think that's where Liquid, they know that Bane TP top and can't help out this bottom lane. That's where they really want to commit to this bottom dual lane, almost finding Era with enough damage from that Illuminate, but he will salve following. But he's getting a lot of pressure onto him down bottom. Meanwhile, Mind Control is getting good farm in CS with the help of the Keeper.
Trixie may be dead here. He's going to go for the TP out underneath the Blade Fury. Nicely played. Does manage to get out, but it kicks him all the way back to base. Yeah, it seems like this is also another one of the big things about the Keeper of the Light's huge amount of laning phase presence against dual or tri-lanes. So if you're dealing aggro tri-lane, it works there, but most of the time it's going to be in an aggro dual lane against the enemy's safe lane. The Illuminate Blast spamming seem to have such a large impact.
Yeah, he's been stacking up his neutrals a little bit. He's going to continue to put pressure down this bottom lane, secure the free farm for the Brewmaster. So laning wise, it does feel like a pretty good setup for Liquid. Even not getting that kill to lane, just forcing the Nyx off the lane means they are continuing to free farm. Well, that's
with these haste runes. And he's got a knack for them.
TP out will not be possible to get cancelled.
Did you know that, by the way, that healing salves don't get canceled by tower shots anymore?
Yeah.
For some reason, that slipped my mind, and I had it happen at a pub, and I was just the other day, and I was like, wow, what the hell? Trixie gonna be gone on here for another Blade Fury, big nuke damage, but Matu doesn't actually continue the chase there as the sleep goes on to Kuro and reveals his position.
The first time it happened to me in a pub where I got tower dived, killed, and the guy was going to die as well, but he then salves up while tower hitting me, I was so angry. Like, I was
that's
like,
the
what
exact
is this
same
new
thing
patch?
happened to me. I had this crazy ass PA, and he just like tower dived with healing salves all day, and I was just like, oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Let's see. How's this laning phase really matching up, though? Because it seems like Mind Control is going to be brought back here. If they can actually get this kill, it'll be big, because Mind Control's been getting a lot out of this laning phase so far. He's level 4, but it looks like they will catch him. Era gets the Shukuchi on him. A little bit of blast damage in return, but they do manage to claim that kill for Era. And that kill is definitely needed. He's been suffering a bit in CS, especially in comparison to that offlaner. Mind Control was sitting at 17-1.
This CS chart is incredibly Dire side favored. 3 top CSs are all in the Dire cores, and then the supports are even getting CS. Rubik has 12. Coddle's about to pick up like another 6 or 7 from this neutral stack. So like these supports are getting just as much as the cores in some ways. The kills do even things up, so it's not like we're seeing a big farm advantage going Liquid's way, but it does really tell a tale of a very laning stage advantage for Liquid that Nip feel pressured to make up for through support rotations.
The big rotations is Syndrin, and where he chooses to be. Last rotation was catching out Mind Control bottom lane. It looks like they're going to try and do so again. As a result, he's managed to pick himself up Arcane Boots already. He's going to put those to good use here as another glimpse goes down. They get the bugs on a Mind Control. And again, it looks like he should die here with a sleep. On to GH. They might be able to get the extra kill. The Sun Strike, and that is a twofer. 4-0 now for Nip, upsetting the static laning phase that was a win for Liquid by being able to get these kills thanks to Syndrin's roam.
Yeah, that's punishing the greed, and that's what they've got to do. Syndrin has been very impressive on this Bane, moving all over the map. He's been involved in all 4 of these kills so far, and it feels like he has been in every single lane. He started off getting the kill at the Shrine, he helped out top, he's been towards the mid lane to harass Miracle some. Now in the bottom lane he's got those kills, so very important they don't let this Brewmaster just free farm towards his level 6 and like Blink Dagger or whatever items he wants to go for. Make it so that he feels more like a true offlaner, getting punished a little bit here and there, and that's exactly what has happened now thanks to Synd.
I wonder how much Nip have, or maybe Syndrin in particular, have watched Team Secret. Because this is kind of, for me anyway, reminiscent of Secret's performance with Puppey. He's usually, when he's placed on those roamers, he seems to have a very high impact in lanes, and Syndrin seems to have adopted a similar story here with its own unique flavor, with the Bane pickup. Definitely.
Yeah.
Storm, an attempted go here onto Miracle. They've got the glimpse in place. They've got the pullback of the Sentry. They've got Trixie here as well to lend them the extra stun necessary to land the Sunstrike. And that will be all from Miracle in this lane. 5-0 now for Ninjas the Pyjamas in this Game 3 against Liquid.
And that's now kills across all 3 lanes. So like you talk about the Dire side having a CS advantage as all 3 cores. Well, each of those cores has now died and lost most of that farm advantage outside of the Juggernaut, who has died but is still maintaining pretty decent farm lead on his counterparts. But all in all, I think Nip have done a great job of equalizing things here. This top tower, though, is something they make it
this at all.
For. Yeah.
Oh, that pure damage blowing him up. I mean, that's it's 6.5 minutes in, and Trixie already has his level 6. You don't expect that from the next assassin, and Matu very clearly got caught out by it.
Yeah, that level 6, and he got a bit greedy with the tower perhaps as well, but very nicely played. Nip are playing some pristine Dota so far here in game number 3, and looking for more at this mid lane. Miracle is perhaps caught again. The TP's coming in. They're just going to keep on rotating. They
really are. They're pulling back. They bring all these heroes. Nip, they seem to have a knack for 4 or 5 manning so early on to the game. I mean, we know this is a 5-man patch for sure, but nobody expects it. You're bringing your offlaner to the mid lane at 5 and 7 minutes in. You know, that's just not really done. But here, Ninjas the Pyjamas shutting down Miracle early, keeping notably that's a Templar assassin. That's kind of a snowballing hero, right? And they're keeping him down in laning phase, a laning phase that he should win against an invoker.
Yeah, their TP usage is being like, I feel like they've used more TPs in the first 8 minutes of this game than you'll almost ever see. They're just constantly moving, catching Liquid completely off guard, And they'll be ready to go for some more kills again soon. Trixie's going to have another Vendetta and possibly making the call like, hey, I want to go for a pick-off. We've got the Sunstrike ready. The Invoker with the Nyx Assassin's a great duo. Nyx finds anyone. He's got that extra burst dagger, and it's kind of like the equivalent of the gimmicky Dagon Nyx build, except you don't actually have to build a Dagon.
Oh, well, Matu, he definitely knows he's been scouted out now. That ward, it's not been up for too long. It still has another 3.5 minutes, but it may just be countered. As very clearly Matumba Man's rotation was scouted out as he's hit by the Sunstrike. They seem to see what Nip are up to. They're finally trying to change up the game by grouping up themselves, but Nip had the information, and they may try and still contest. They've got 4 heroes near this mid lane. They look for Trixie to make the initiation off of his Vendetta.
There's a sentry. He hasn't walked inside.
Nice double stun. And with the meteor over the top of the deafening blast, they might just be able to get Miracle as well. His refraction is already down. Oh, they catch Matumba Man. That's going to be the target with the Fiend's Grip. A nice blinding light. A glimpse back. Miracle's going to be caught as well. Mind Control's trying to put a stop to this one, but Miracle, he still ends up going down. Mind Control's being controlled up by the sleep. He couldn't even get off the ultimate, which means no real good turnaround kills either. Liquid, they just got demolished.
That is such a good play from Trixie. That Sentry Ward is there, and he doesn't even go for the Vendetta hit. He just lines up an Impale from next to the tower. He knows there's no Sentry Ward, like, in range of the tower, because otherwise he would see it. So he goes for the safe play, the safe 2. Perhaps it could have been a 3-man Impale, but he hit the setup that let the Invoker get the Meteor off, the grip onto the TA. That was such a good setup from him, not going for the greedy move, going for the Vendetta damage, and just making sure that Liquid get punished for that aggression.
Oh, insult to injury, Miracle's back to base. Gonna have to take the long walk of shame. Lane. Liquid are actually gonna go for a 3-man hook here. Not to be shut down too hard. They're still gonna try and maintain some level of aggression with Matu yet to have used his Omni Slash, and same goes with Mind Control and his Primal Split. So they still have plenty of opportunities to win a fight. It's just a question of whether or not they can find the right kind of initiation here.
They really want to kill Quick, though. He's that big snowballing carry that they haven't been finding a way to deal with, and looks like they do know where he is.
But how can they close that gap? They really can't, not against the tornado.
As well. Oh,
and Cinderin. All right. Kuro Mendo. Get him.
Classic Cinderin roll. Tank the smoke gank for the team. Yeah. Miracle could be in trouble here to a Sunstrike.
Yeah, he's been farming away these Ancients. If Trixie actually... Oh, the refraction just came up. They're still going to be able to get the Sunstrike on him, and Miracle may be in trouble. He pops the Shrine, turns Trixie. All right, they get the Telekinesis, and that will mean death, I do believe. Well, instead of dying, actually picks up the kill on, let's be honest, just a little bit of fortuitous timing.
Yeah, just that. It was very fortuitous for him. I mean, I guess Nyx doesn't quite know when that refraction recast is coming online, and Miracle just wants to have it up at all times when you're against the Nyx Assassin. So maybe some TAs there would have not recast it until later on, but yeah, very, very heads-up play and a bit of luck as well going his way.
Liquid trying to keep their offlane tower. It seems Kuro not getting caught by that kinetic field, so the Static Storm completely whiffing there.
Well, not the outcome he was hoping for. Error with the Helm of the Dominator thing. We talked about what's the build going to be on the Weaver. This is not an item we really considered, but it is an item that seems to be effective regardless of the game on any core hero.
Does decent stats, that creep. I mean, how annoying is it? You go for this 1200 HP creep all the time, and you get, even if you do get it, right? Say he doesn't Helm a Dominator a different creep. You see, say you do get it. Say it's a Purge creep. It's like 12 gold. You expend that much to get 12 gold. It's just awful.
God. And yeah, they're just running around the map with 425 movement speed, like faster than most heroes.
Close. It just turned nighttime. I think that actually cost Cinderin the Fiend's Grip.
Oh, was he? He was looking for the Jugget mid.
Yeah, he was halfway through the animation and it went dark.
Oh.
And he lost the vision. That's rough. Kuro's got Brain Sap, so he did have the opportunity to get a lot of quick burst onto Era. If they could have Telekinesis, Omni Slash, and Brain Sap, they might have brought him down for the Telekinesis. And
yeah,
Era is away before all that can occur.
It looked like they were trying to set up bottom lane with that Observer Sentry, or even trying to steal the Shikuchi, but it's in a good position here, and I think warned of that Sentry Ward in lane as well. Oh, Perfect.
Okay, that isn't going to be much, but the Static Storm will mean a lot. Liquid, they're going to lose so many here. 1, 2, and make it 3. Koifa picks up one of them, making his a mega kill streak, so even the mid lane farmer is able to take some action out of that bottom lane engagement. I actually was following, like, Synderen seemed to be in a bit of trouble before he got an Invis rune. How did they set that one up? A 3-man Static Storm.
3-man Impale from Vendetta. Again, it was like this. He has been so good this game on the Nyx Assassin. He was just hiding just out of range of the Sentry Ward, knowing that it was in the lane. Hits the 3-man Impale into Static Storm Kinetic Field, and Liquid just get demolished.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
That was very, very good. I mean, Trixie making a good case that he could be a potential upgrade from the former offlaner in Kezu.
Yeah.
He has played some insane play.
He really does show you that the Vendetta hit, it don't mean much. You've got teamwork, you should just straight up impale out of Vendetta as he set his team up for so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Multi-hero impales. I mean, that hero's hard enough to land.
He set up a Carapace on the GH here at bottom lane and immediately charged forward trying to catcall, but GH was far enough back that he doesn't get caught.
Bottom tower is under attack.
The blast will send her back. He came, he is going to be working towards that Lincoln item after the Ring of Aquila and Dom. Koifa has himself Hanamitis level 12 and a Yule Scepter already. So he's got a potential wombo combo to lay down on Miracle at any point in time. And he keeps on doing this. This is something that I've seen Koifa do that I really haven't seen any other Invokers do consistently, which is he seems to kind of scout things out with his Sunstrike a lot more than anybody else.
And I guess there's enough ward positions that it doesn't totally tell where your ward positioning is, because like it may bait out sentry wards onto the cliff, or it may bait out sentry wards where you're throwing the Sunstrike, so it doesn't really cost you too much. And if it lands, getting a hero down to half HP can potentially stop them going aggressive. It may force them to back off, heal up, so it can put you into maybe a better position strategically.
Thought he was going to be able to get a stun on Miracle underneath his tower. May still try for it here. Maybe a glimpse back. Is down there. Not to try and lay down some vision and make a play. Probably for the best, though. They are running low a little bit on time because Mind Control is about to pick up his Blink Dagger, and that will be a very large upgrade for Liquid when it comes to...
Yeah, we'll see how good Hani can be as far as getting the fast fingers on the Static Storms then, but they're not done. They're still going on Miracle.
Fresh Refraction still laid out, but they do have the Static Storm. Miracle pops the haste, but it's not enough to be able to get out of that kinetic field. They may still be able to get this kill. Never mind, Miracle's away, and Trixie's in some serious trouble. Synderen fights it out with 2 heroes, while Trixie having to do something similar here. Dodges the blast, gets a double impale. Synderen's definitely dead, but Trixie's still making his case. He's still alive and is going to buy his team. A lot of time, Sunstrike stolen out by GH, barely misses, but finally, they will bring Trixie down. Really, there wasn't much hope for escape, just a lot of delay.
Yeah, just not enough follow-up damage with the Refraction blocking. Hail, the mana burn, there wasn't really anything else. Like, the Sunstrike is all that there was as far as damage output onto the TA there, and they've still got Primal Split here, so Liquid can maintain their aggression. They've taken the enemy Ancients, they're setting up kind of very aggressively as if they want to jump and take another team fight around this mid lane. Problem is the same Radiant Observer Ward continues to scout a lot, but
Era, is he actually going to get bursted down? No, time lapse goes out just in time. Kuro a little bit slow there with the Sunstrike. Eventually misses out. Blinding Light helping Kuro out. Missed Impale this time around from Trixie. Kuro actually seals it, throws it out real quickly, knows he's going to be dying, and he sure does. Fiend's Grip laid out, but a Yule's actually Storm Panda using the Tornado to stop that channel, and that means Matu is free to beat down Synderen. Era picks up that healing ward, looks to pick up one of the supports in the back line while the rest of Liquid stream forward, trying to grab Hani. Static Storm laid out, trying to do whatever damage he can. Maybe with the Meteor Blast, they can get something. Trixie comes in. Miracle's low, but he pops a Fresh Refraction. They're going to go for Matu instead, who's been stunned up, but still on half HP. I'm not sure how they could possibly bring him down with all this extra killing right now. Era's going to go for it anyway. Sunstrike, is it on point? No, he gets a little bit of body block and misses out. Now Matu turns, spin to win on top of Trixie. He's going to be able to pick up that kill. And Era locked in by the mana leak, doesn't have a time lapse away, has the magic wand charges, but cannot get out. Liquid strike back big time, making a score that was once 10-3, now 14-9, and a potential Aegis in their hands as well.
Yeah, and these kills are like at the key time of the game. Like getting those early game kills is nice, but getting the mid game kills which secure your Roshan, which are on high value targets, make a much bigger difference. And this
will be countered real quickly before the Observer Ward of Liquids is taken out. But either way, that Observer Ward did its job. It helped them secure Roshan. The Aegis is now in the hands of Miracle.
Yeah, and they took that fight with like a Midas TA. It's not like Miracle's particularly team fight ready. He's got decent levels, like he's maxed out all his skills and all that, but he hasn't got anything in the way of items just yet. They just outmaneuvered Nip. I mean, small things like the body block making that Sunstrike miss is something which can really make a big difference as well. So this game will quickly turn into a let's play for the Koikva late game Invoker. He is level 14, he is free farming, so we'll see if he can have the same impact he did in the previous game, because Nip are going to be set back quite a lot by that failed fight there, but potentially looking to set up a top lane.
He is going to be met pound for pound, though. Nice pick up there on GH by Trixie and Koikva. Miracle, him picking up Hand of Midas means that he is keeping pace a bit with Invoker's net worth. He has Hand of Midas as well as the Desolator now, and a Blink Dagger, which is sure to be pretty quick behind this Deso, because there looks like to be able to take a tier 2 no problem.
Yeah, looks like Sind and Hani hoping for a straggler to like walk down the lane with a TP in, not going to be so fortunate, and will have to just get themselves back home. But tier 2 for tier 2, if Nip can get this bottom tier 2, would be a decent trade. They may just be forced back. Liquid could easily just say, let's keep them honest and pressure the high ground, force TPs back, but instead GH is looking to defend this bottom lane for now. Liquid in
they're kind of
no
doing
rush.
neither. They're not mass rotating. Now a couple of heroes coming back. Managed to slow on to Era, but he doesn't care. Shichi is go, and Kuro not going to be able to catch the Nyx either. Gonna be threatened a bit. Does have his spin, but Synderen might be able to get the Fiend's Grip, stopping all of that. Matu thought he could rely on the spin to be able to get out of this one, but can't actually make it out. The Fiend's Grip holds him in place. Now a silence, asleep now on a Miracle. They can set up the stun combination. He's already lost all of his refraction charges with the Centaur's stun. They hold him in place long enough. He has the Haste Rune still with the help of Kuro. He will manage to get out. Maybe Kuro can get out too with the Shukuchi. Now the jump in. Mind Control. Not going to be stunned up by Trixie fast enough. Managed to get off his ultimate and will get the control onto the fellow offlaner of Nip, it looks like. Beginning to make his distance. He actually tried to purge off that invis. Not going to happen. Miracle is in a war here with Koikva right now. He's out of refraction charges. Still has that Aegis to be able to fall back on. Koikva going to give up on the kill. It's going to be Era caught in by the telekinesis. They blow him up with a big blast from GH. Now Synderen's going to be caught as well. He gets the sleep on a Miracle, but it won't be able to set up much with Nip mostly dead or too far away to be able to assist. Another win for Liquid.
Yeah, just good aggression around the Aegis and having the Static Storm there. That's the first time I've seen a Static Storm used on a Centaur. It actually seemed like a decent play. It stopped the Juggernaut from using his Centaur to stomp the Fiend Script. If he got that stomp off, potentially he escapes using a Blade Fury or an Omni Slash, but the result is Liquid with the Aegis can just constantly die for kills.
Oh, that Sunstrike's going to be split between the two, and that means Mind Control won't actually end up going down there. Another decent stun by Trixie, but the Disruptor is still caught out of place well enough that Liquid are
Miracle
going to be able to take one.
He just keeps blocking key spell damage with the Refraction. It feels like a lot of spells are being wasted on it. I mean, it's very hard to break the Refraction. They haven't got the best heroes to do so outside of maybe the Weaver Swarm, and you can't just throw the Swarm and expect it to break Refraction. Miracle will easily kill the Beetle, so this is proven to be very difficult to deal with this late TA pick in the draft. And even though Miracle had a rough start getting ganked and picked off a few times, now that he's managed to kind of salvage his early game, go back for the Midas, get some levels, get a Blink and Desolator, he is suddenly the toughest hero to deal with.
Liquid are going to back him up here. Oh, okay. That's a nice pickup. Sure. Double damage into a bottle. So for the next 2 minutes, Liquid just got this big upgrade in fighting power. And I think Nip, either way, whether they know about the double damage or not, they are going to try and stay away from fighting Liquid. Brewmaster has his primal split. They've already showed their strength. There seems to be no reason to fight into this team for now anyway.
Yeah, Cinder's just going to tuck himself in these trees. He sees them coming with the Observer Ward. Question is if they know he's there, but instead it's going to be Hani caught out.
He throws down the Static Storm, but he gets quickly eliminated by that physical damage. Maybe Matu can be taken out with a Sunstrike a little bit more. One, and a Healing Ward. He's actually good. Trixie makes his blink away, but another trap is there from the Templar Assassin. Doesn't pop it. Doesn't look like he had vision.
Oh, they found Synderen too, so... Yeah, it just feels like Nip not all on the same page. Like, they're trying to go for these cheeky little pickoffs here and there, but they had the vision with that Observer Ward to know that they were making that move through that jungle area, but Ani getting caught out while the rest of his team weren't really in a good position to fight. Going for a Sunstrike killer was a very kind of, I think, low percentage play in general, and if it works out, it's great, but it just feels like they don't need to be going for these desperate plays. They've got a decent late game with the Invoker. It's a very good Weaver game as well, as far as there not being a great deal of control. Ooh, GH, not going to die to that
has enough
combo.
HP now. He's got the Aghanim Scepter, and now it's Trixie who has to tank the full Omni Slash.
I mean, a couple kills. I mean, it's one of those things where this game looks very different. If they kill that Juggernaut with that initial Sunstrike, and if they get that kill there, with the Sunstrike as well, like this could be a very different looking game as far as the Invoker's overall farm and as far as Liquid's ability to push and take objectives. They lose those heroes, they're not able to group up as they are and push forward, but small little details with heroes surviving makes a world of difference.
Now Liquid are actually going to pressure high ground here instead of trying to do the full coup of tier 2 towers with this Desolator. They're very rapidly threatening this tier 3 tower, and Nip were not in a position to be able to make a quick defense, and they may not be able to fight this one too. Mind Control can jump forward at any point in time, but he's got a BKB, so he will not be controlled and denied that primal split. He's ready to go. Oh, maybe a Fiend's Grip. They can actually get the damage onto him. They can stop him from getting off this big time ultimate, but they just don't have it. A blinding light from GH stops most of that physical damage, and now it's going to be Lane of Raxes, it seems like, for Liquid. They pick up the melee, wipe out the ranged, and a full retreat now. Jump forward from Trixie. Two-man stun. Nip really want to be able to get something to happen, but no! Disruptor gets one-shot by Miracle, and now they've got the control on the Era as well. He's being controlled up by the telekinesis. They eliminate him. 2 down from Ninjas the Pyjamas, and all of a sudden, Liquid have taken 1 lane of Rax and are going to tune for 2.
Oh yeah, this is not an easy defense. They can try and delay things using the Nyx Assassin perhaps and the Invoker spells, but an Invoker doesn't have that many high levels in Quaz, and isn't looking like that scary late game Invoker just yet, and the second lane of Rax really puts Nip in a desperate position.
Tracks down, melee Rax, little hope. Nip just do not have the proper fighting power without their Weavers. 2 lanes of Rax down by 25 minutes. What a stark contrast. Game 2 and even the beginning of this Game 3, where Nip were hitting so hard that what was the score? 10-3. Even at one point it was 5-0. Nip had such a good start, but failed to follow through.
Yeah, they never really took too many objectives off of it. They also just, I mean, they were straight up losing their lanes pretty badly in terms of overall farm. Miracle making sure that they lose the farm game by just going for this ultra efficient Midas build, as well as just his overall playstyle was always just focused around his farming efficiency. But even so, I mean, Nip get enough kills as they did. It felt like they were going to be playing at a tempo where they could just keep finding pickoffs using the Nyx Vendetta into the Sunstrike, but it's Liquid who struck back.
4-man smoke into Koifa's silence. Nice 2-man stun from Trixie. And, oh, Matu actually tried to throw out the Omni Slash, but it was blocked by the Spike Carapace and a blink away from Trixie. He managed to get out of that one, but it may not be good enough. He's still going to be comboed down. Mind Control came in big time with that ultimate. He's going to be able to get the control onto Synderen. Jump forward. Miracle looks for a third. Gets the Disruptor on the back lines as well. Ninjas and Pyjamas. I thought for a small moment there, with the Omni Slash wasted, they could actually fight it out, but they are just going to be forced into a good game call. Such high hopes for Nip going into this Game 3 after a stellar Game 2 performance, but unable to close it out, and will be dropping into the lower bracket of the group.
Yeah, Liquid just did a good job hitting their stride once they got their key item in the Brewmaster Blink this game. Like, they felt like they had the rough laning stage, but they recover very well, and we saw it in Game 1 as well. Even to probably a greater extreme in Game 1, where the rough laning stage transitioned into a rough early to mid game because they were just waiting for Naga to come on, Naga and SF to come online. This game around, it was much more like, okay, we want to fight in the mid game. We've got this good fighting carry in Juggernaut. TA is going to hit this pretty good Desolator timing, and then we can fight her on the Brewmaster split, which ended up working well for them. And I think Nip I mean, Koikva again, fantastic game on the Invoker. His team got him off to a really good start with a lot of kills from the Sunstrike. It was just a couple like wrong calls as far as kills they went for that they narrowly missed. Trixie played an insane game in the early game. He had a couple really good team fights that he set up, but it was just they weren't able to really follow through and like maintain that level of consistent good play throughout the game.
Have to play another best of 3. Anyway, Gods, what are you thinking? Cloud9 versus Team Liquid? I know we talked early on about Liquid being the number 1 in their group, the number 1 seed, kind of probably the strongest team in this whole entire thing. Watching Cloud9, was it yesterday or the day before? Do you feel Cloud9 has a decent chance here against Liquid?
I think so. Liquid weren't as dominant as we perhaps expected. They had a couple shaky, like 3 real shaky early games against the Ninjas in Pyjamas. I think draft-wise, they weren't really dominant. They weren't winning their games convincingly, although you could definitely tell, like, all right, they're the more kind of experienced team. They just seem to, like, kind of outclass NIP a bit. For Cloud9, though, I don't think they can play at the level they did against NIP. I think Cloud9 is a team who's much better just kind of at the general objective aspect of Dota right now. They've been together a bit longer. Their lineups in general are a bit more 5-manny than what we saw out of NIP. So I think Cloud9's a team that will punish Liquid if they have an off day, like I feel they did against.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
The second opportunity, and they go for the more, I guess, malleable pick in the Slardar, leaving Lone Druid to team.
Yeah. Cloud9 are kind of in that second boat where yesterday we saw one game of Lone Druid from them, but it was like a 3rd or 4th pick Lone Druid. They picked it much deeper in the draft against Alliance. And I think for Cloud9, I mean, I guess to touch on them and their performance and like how I feel like they can do, I don't feel like they got truly tested against Alliance. Alliance just kind of fell apart in a couple of those games, had really wonky drafts that were kind of all in. So the Cloud9 I'm kind of expecting to see is based on some of their previous results, but based on, I don't think there's a lot to take away from that series against Alliance. Yeah.
10 seconds remaining. Liquid's turn to ban. 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's nice here to kind of start off a fight when you're going for some kind of like a death ball type draft or something a bit more team fight heavy, because right now Liquid are going to take some time to come online with a lone druid in theory. Dazzle's not a support that's going to offer much at all against a Brewmaster as well, so liking the opening from Cloud9. I think they have the ability to put pressure onto Liquid's draft, and we'll see what Liquid look to do to try and remedy that problem, because that's kind of got to be what's kind of going through Kuro's head right now. It's like, okay, Cloud9's going to be running at us, maybe not so much in the laning stage, but at least in the mid game, what's the solution going to be? Mm-hmm.
10 seconds remaining.
The lone druid.
It's banned out already.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, I missed that. Cloud9 very first ban. God, boom.
Reserve time.
That's a very targeted ban against Kuro, but I guess they just see it as an annoying hero they just don't like versing. If they want to go for these early 5-man pushes, it is a hero that will stop that.
Good.
10 seconds remaining.
Maybe pick up
5 seconds remaining.
Darkseers is always great.
Darkseer.
Like that's, Darkseer is more great if you can pair it with a nice 4-position playmaker, which there are still, like the Earth Spirit's still in the pool for GH if you want to play that. He's played quite a bit of the Pudge, which is still also in the pool. Oh, okay, yeah, no, you're right. All right, yep. Can't see bans today apparently.
Do you like see I suggested Clockwork because I think I like an initiating offlaner when you're running a lone druid. What do you think? Do you think a mech offlaner that has been a lot more popular?
I think Darkseer is in his like own special category because with the right partner he can pressure the lane a lot, so he good at creating space. But I think in general I definitely agree with you that having an initiating type offlane is going to fit better with the lone druid, something that's a bit more disruptive. Often those like mech carrier type offlaners, your Darkseers, your Tides, your Underlords take a bit more farm and time to come online, and that's not the kind of hero you want to pair up with a lone druid, because of the lone druid's time needing more space and time to get up to those critical items.
Crystal Maiden.
Dire team pick.
One of the better supports against Slider in some ways. That Frostbite maxed out 6-second cooldown is crazy. You can't just go blink crushing in willy-nilly, and if you do so you often get punished by a Crystal Maiden, so it does give them some reliable lockdown to fight around, and I imagine they're going to be looking to pick up some core heroes that can benefit a lot from that Arcane Aura, because right now Dazzle Lone Druid's kind of like, not really anything great to fight around the Aura. Both kind of get some small benefit from it, but not all that much. Yeah, what are they? Warlock.
Liquid's turn to pick.
Okay, Fatal Bonds the bear to the rest of his team. I mean, that bear's going to be very squishy with the lone druid builds we're seeing these days, so they're going very heavy on the team fight right now. The Warlock, the Brewmaster, long cooldowns to fight around in the offering as well as the Primal Split, but anytime those ultis are up, I don't see Liquid matching up in any kind of a team fight sense, at least not with their current 3 picks.
Weaver. Dire team pick.
Sessions. So, kind of okay with this. I'm presuming they're going to do some sort of aggro or dual lane.
5 seconds
I
remaining.
wonder how this works with the lanes and player allocations, because typically you would expect to see Miracle Matu playing like the 2 main carries, which would be Weaver Lone Druid, while Mind Control like team fight escrow, and they have 0 team fight. Like, yeah, you want to avoid team fights, but I still think you need some kind of 1 lockdown and 2 like team fight control. Like, there is absolutely nothing for Liquid. yeah, you're not going to be fighting into the Rock and the Brewmaster, but how you can't just solely rely on like farming and split push. At some point, you need to be finding some pickoffs and killing off Cloud9 core heroes to win this game. So that to me is like a must for them. Yes.
Against Druids, I think some pride. Well, the Ember Spirit is still in the pool,
Okay.
whether or not they want to run that. I think Ember Spirit gets a pretty good rep here. He does have to deal with the Frostbite, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of disable.
Yeah.
On team.
Dire team ban.
You can still Remnant out of the Frostbite, I believe. You know if that's the case? Yeah, because you can Remnant. It's one of those. I mean, I've heard like players complain about it, where it's like Storm Spirit can't pull Lightning out of stuff like Frostbite, but for whatever reason, Ember Spirit can Fire Remnant out. So it's
10
like
seconds.
root mechanics doesn't make a whole.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Ember
5
Spirit got
seconds
the
remaining.
biggest buffs ever when it comes to the root mechanic. He's got a root and he ignores roots. Times.
Reserve time.
Yeah, I guess that so the Frostbite will really only apply, I guess, when he and they've got some
Ooh.
slows to
Pick.
Airblade.
There's the building hitter, and something that will force Liquid to come back and defend or quickly lose key infrastructure. Another long cooldown to fight around in the Metamorphosis, but that's. I mean, that can be good and bad. It means when you've got those ultis, you're very strong. It's very unlikely Liquid want to fight into you. And then the bad is, well, the
5
downtime.
seconds remaining.
I think anytime you're running up against a lone druid, most of the time you're going to want to have some
Reserve
sort of
time.
range damage dealer. I was thinking about, like SF or heroes. OD was also still cool, but here they go for the Ember Spirit mid and then a ranged safe lane carry, Airblade, that's also going to threaten, I think, the timing that lone druid kind of at its weakest.
Yeah, they also banned Tinker, which is like a must when playing Terrorblade. I hopped on that a lot the other day. I just feel like it needs to be said. You've got to ban Tinker if you're playing Terrorblade as like your main
10
carry.
seconds remaining.
That makes Terrorblade just like useless hero. Centaur
Yeah,
last
we
pick,
want.
yeah. I don't think Tinker would have been a great pick for Liquid because they felt like they must pick like some kind of control, but it works so well as a Terrorblade counter. They do go for the mind control hero in the Centaur, which probably puts Lone Druid in the mid lane. I guess Liquid leave a bit of flexibility with Weaver as a gimmicky mid possibility, but the Lone Druid versus Ember matchup seems like the preferable one here for Liquid their draft.
You know, when Lone Druid first started picking up, I tried to talk about the fact that, hey, you know, Lone Druid used to be a pretty decent mid, but we really haven't seen Lone Druid mid, or at least I haven't seen it. All the times it's been picked up, it's almost always been safe lane carry. Seen any mid Lone Druids, and how do you think that matchup still goes?
Very few. I've seen at least one, I think, during Starlight, but that was like, I mean, again, that's one. That one example I can think of. It
5
overall, it used to work really well because in a straight up 1v1, Lone Druid wins the CS battle against almost any hero. You've got the bear. We're seeing the Lone Druid max out that Spirit Bear early, and level 5 Lone Druid, that's where you've got your kill potential. Normally you think mid lane is, alright, kill potential level 6 or something with your ultimate. Like, that's where an Ember Spirit reaches that first, like, real big threat. But for a Lone Druid, you hit level 5 and you potentially have a timing where you can put some pressure on. So I think Lone Druid does fine mid lane. The problem he normally runs into is the rotations, but this is not a very heavy rotating Cloud9 lineup. The Slider can and will very likely pose some pressure onto this mid lane to try and disrupt the Lone Druid CSing, but Warlock is kind of a static support as far as the laning stage goes, so it's really all up to Neuer too.
Yeah, and it's not the right kind of ganking pressure that you want, right? Slardar is he tries to run in and slither and crush, but that usually should be counter Savage Roar from the Lone Druid. So he may be able to pressure Lone Druid in maybe the first one levels, but later on, when it comes to actual ganking potential, late level 6 on Ember.
I think it's like you say, just that first couple of levels where Slider can have an impact, and if Liquid are worried about that first couple of levels, all they have to do is send the Dazzle to the mid lane to start things off, and to kind of poison touch that Slider, or even just if he runs in through a Shadow Wave, it doesn't really matter. Skill build wise, it's just about being there and offering that extra body to help secure Lone Druid that first wave or two of assistance. So, interesting couple of drafts. What do you like in Cap? Like, do you like the team fight? Cooldown dependent Cloud9 draft more, or are you liking what Liquid have put together?
think I like what Liquid has a little bit more. I think the Terrorblade last pick was a decent choice in Cloud9. It fit some of the boxes to have versus Cloud9. You need some pushing or you need to have gold DPS, I think. But the problem I see is that their lineup may just be a bit too slow. It's going to hit really hard at about 20-25 minutes, and they're going to be unstoppable 5-man force. But I don't think they win the laning phase hard enough. And they're going to have a small window in the mid game, and then as we start going later, I think they're going to have more and more issues. Liquid's. So that's the way I kind of see it. I don't know. What are your?
Well, I could see them even when they hit that big scary mid game timing. They're still slow in the sense like they've got to like walk down a lane. They're not gonna be able to make any like really fast-paced moves. Like the Ember Spirit, he's got high mobility, but Terrorblade, Warlock, these are heroes that just kind of poddle along down a lane. And as soon as you see that coming, Liquid's got two great heroes to split push with in the Weaver and the Lone Druid. So I think they don't have to meet that 5-man push. They can just go and tackle other lanes at them and force Cloud9 back that way. But I think I'm a little bit more optimistic about Cloud9 just based on how scary they're going to be and that they can force an early Roshan as well with the Metamorphosis and with their teamfight advantage. I think a lot's going to depend on the Blink Dagger timings of both Slardar, Brewmaster. Those first tier 1 towers really need to go down at a decent time around that like Brewmaster Blink. You want to have all those tier 1s down, and then Slardar's Blink needs to come online at a good time because he's the only catch they really have to rely on against like this Weaver Lone Druid is going to be his Blink Dagger.
Fortunately, Rise will be just ahead of this aggressive rotation from Liquid. They've got the two supports behind Mind Control. Does slot them a aggressive kind of ward that's going to block out the easy camp pull. Sure, Mind Control has a little bit easier of a time. Looks like they're just going to trade 2 for 2. C9 taking the right-hand side. Left. I actually want to talk about this Weaver and the item builds. We've talked a number of times about the Desolator on Weaver, but it seems to be completely out of touch. Everyone's going to Fuseblade. Is this a one game where you want to see Deso? Because you talked about the split pushing power that Liquid has.
Diffusel's pretty good against the Flame Guard this game. I guess, do you want to Lincolns this game is probably one of the questions. I'm leaning more towards the Lincolns not being necessarily amazing. It is though like a 3-position Weaver. It's Miracle playing the center and the safe lane. Actually, I did not expect that to be the case, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Deso is going to be enough to burst through the high armor of a Terrorblade. I think a Deso against Terrorblade doesn't really do enough. I think you may as well just go for a more defensive build.
Maybe Diffuse Lane. Maybe we'll see Mjolnir out there to help deal with the illusions as well. Better option than trying to focus on power hitting and leave that a little bit more to currently 1v1 Baby Knight in the mid lane, and as expected doing quite well in both harassment and getting
These are two very favorable 1v1 matchups for Liquid. I feel the Lone Druid 1v1 has the harass potential and the extra CSing advantage. The Centaur against the Brewmaster may be a bit more of an even lane, but it's more the Miracle versus Hesijo matchup here. I mean, Miracle is a mechanically better player. I mean, Hesijo plays that offlane initiating role. Like, you're not picking him to play that 1v1 type lane and win his lane against a player like Miracle. So I think this is a lane that Miracle should come out on top of as well.
You've got the supports battling up against each other. GH, Noya's really trying to force GH to use this shrine. He was trying to pressure into the river, see if he could actually get this him. He's trying to shove him completely out of the jungle. Make sure this frostbite isn't possible. What? Miracle, you can't do that. You can't do that to me. Get a kill against
the salve on the tower. Oh my god. He would have died to the tower hits, but the salve kicks in. Dang. Okay.
And that's going to be very early. Tranquil Boots. Wow. Let's he just get that kill level 2 against a Brewmaster?
I think he just looked like he just walked in and dived him with double edge at the tower. Walked away. It's casual, you know. He used that first hoof stomp just to get him down to half HP, and then second one to dive the tower with. So Hesijo just misplaying the lane a bit, and again, that's where I feel like the 1v1 matchup's very favorable for Liquid. Miracle is just going to be able to outplay almost most opponents in a 1v1 setting, outside of some of those like class mid laners like No One, Sumail. He'll do just fine in this matchup.
Spirit 13 and 6, so despite all the harassment, he is doing decent We'll check back in on that level 5 area. Joke getting a bit aggressive on a Miracle here, but if he doesn't keep up this pressure, you're going to see the power of Tranquil Boots start turning this lane against Joe. Dropping those boots. Keep that cooldown going and eke out a little bit.
So, it does seem like Liquid have been deterred from maintaining their aggression at top with the supports. The CM falling back to the jungle to get the early level 2 Arcanor. I say early, but it doesn't really feel that early. And Kuro now showing up in the mid lane for some extra harass, and perhaps just thinking he can force some rotations out of the Cloud9 supports, give Mind Control a slightly easier lane by posing a threat in this mid lane.
Yeah, it seems like most of all that GH God doesn't really want to be in top lane anymore, because Noya has so effectively threatened him and taken away that jungle option. He's going to go into safer parts of the Radiant jungle where Noya can't be as disruptive, and as a result, Kuro's going to want Mind Control's best left solo at this point. My extra presence does. Kuro's kind of left with that at home at this point. Feels a bit of harassment at mid. Maybe he can rotate bottom at one point. Going to be one of those dazzles that left with a question mark. Not sure.
Nice Savage Roar from the bear, gets the Arcane Rune secured for, well, the Spirit Bear itself, which isn't going to do much, but denying that rune from Baby Knight makes this lane a bit harder for him because he doesn't have that bottle refill at a crucial timing when Lone Druid just hits level 5, so this is where it gets tough for Baby Knight to CS. He's been on par with the Lone Druid up until now, but that's going to likely change the level 5 pickup, at least even when he hits level 6. Like, yeah, you've got an escape, but you also can't really easily get in there to try and farm.
Radiant's top tower is under
Will continue to play up in the face of Cloud9, 1 versus 3. C9 hunt him in the jungle, knowing that the Shikuchi was off cooldown, but Mind Control does stay a slight step ahead of him. Bottom lane, Joe goes down again. She manages to make that rotation.
Now they've got Stampede. That's dangerous when you can look at the potential for aggression in other lanes as well. Someone like a Lone Druid, if he wants to go for a tower dive, has that to support him. And ideally, they want to try and find even another kill on Hesijo before he gets level 6 himself. So, really tough bottom lane for Brewmaster.
Joe missing.
Yeah.
Is going to come over. They're trying to finish up their level 6 on Baby Knight, and then finally we can see Baby Knight and his impact. And I think that first level 6 is going to be so crucial. Can he kill Matumba Man, who's currently killing Rise? He's going to be able to pick up kill for him in that lane. Laning phase seems to be so well for Liquid now.
Yep. And Miracle's just fine. He's played it patiently while he was low HP, let the Tranquil regen get him back to almost full. He saw the rotation with the Observer Ward, with the Slider coming down bottom, so he's like, alright, this lane isn't all too safe. May as well get full HP. So if Brewmaster wants to commit a split, you can try and counter the Stampede away using that Cyclone, but there's still the big question of can you actually do 1k in damage between the Brewmaster and the Slider, and I think that's going to be pretty tough with just a level 3 Slider.
And has his level 6, but he's popped a Remnant towards mid, so it looks like he's just going to head back to mid lane against. But going to need a rotation. I really feel like they need to make some sort of kill happen with this big power spike in the Ember Spirit, whether it's bottom against Miracle or it's against a Lone Druid. But again, it's a problem with they don't have the right kind of supports to ensure a kill on Matu. I think he can still outplay it with the right Savage.
Same potentially for Miracle at bottom. He's actually could be in a tough spot here.
Yeah, looks like it. He's going to be stunned up, slowed down, turns around, tries to get the kill on Joe, actually brings it close to death, but does end up.
He knew the heroes were down there, but he just picked up his wand and raindrop, so he was at a very strong point.
Oh, Jesus, Kuro!
That is a happy support.
Yeah, very, very happy. What is he? All of a sudden level 5? Remember I was talking about he didn't really have a home, no real laning phase for him. Boom.
Suddenly he's level 5 and gets a good like 600 gold because he gets some CS to follow up the kill. It's raindrops, sentries. He's suddenly got some decent early game items. Potential Stampede now threatens Cloud9. Root at mid. Ember Spirit getting very low here again, and this is where Ember... His CS looks alright right now, but some of that has come from the jungle because he's been forced to pull back and leave this lane.
45, 46, and 15 now on Matu, contesting the Terrorblade for top CS on the board. But Brewmaster and Ember Spirit are still getting a decent amount. In fact, all three cores on both sides are getting a good amount of CS. Just the kills that are really making the favor, and also the fact that Liquid have this jungler and Crystal Maiden. Currently up here in the top lane, Ace may get caught out here a little bit, slowed down, managed to eat his way through the trees. Nicely played there. He could have been forced into using EP.
GH already with the arcane boots, something you often see on the CM necessarily, but is a hero that sometimes struggles to have the mana pool to use all those spells once Freezing Field comes in. And
Maybe night. Oh, they run play.
Jeez. And that's where I feel at some point he's just going to accept, like, okay, I can't fight this mid lane. He either needs rotations to come to his lane, or he needs to be the one rotating. Like, I don't think there's a necessarily right or wrong between those two options, but something needs to happen involving the Ember Spirit. He's the hero with the gap close. He's the hero that can make plays happen. Perhaps give Warlock like the mid lane to get level 6 and start rotating to a side lane, because right now could have just winning the laning stage. Part of the problem is, though, if he tries to rotate, there is good ward coverage on the side lanes. The mid lane, the bottom lane, even slightly to the north side, there's Radiant detection to scout any movement off of this lane from Baby Knight.
Miracle is very rapidly going to be one of those heroes who can't gank anymore with the Ember Spirit. If he completes this Hood of Defiance, that'll be a big magic upgrade.
Then the question becomes, who can you gank? Weaver, good escape. Lone Druid, good escape. Centaur, just too tanky. And that also has some escape in the Stampede, so all three cores will be very difficult to gank and will require just like a couple of heroes, but 3, 4, 5 heroes to be invested in a smoke gank to actually find those kills.
Baby Knight's going to come over now, but with the ward mid and also the pressure and presence of Matu, it becomes a pretty clear read. So Baby Knight doesn't even fish walking bottom. Miracle already playing. Right now, if they keep trying to give Noya a little bit of space to farm as well, Savage Roars goes down. Looks like they really want to get this kill on the bear, but they did not have Crush back up, so not even a gank on the Spirit Bear is going to work out for Cloud9. Ace is going to be dove at top lane, does have the Sundered, managed to get it off, pops a Metamorphosis, looking to finish off GH. Freezing Field doesn't bring down Ace, but Mind Control will. In the end, well worth it. Loss of GH for that core. Now Mind Control is going to be dove up, gets the top. Good.
Yeah, and that's Metamorphosis even used, which means if Cloud9 were thinking, okay, this lane stage is going horribly, let's at least secure some tier 1 towers, group up with the Metamorphosis, push something down, they've now got to wait another 2 minutes. So they lose the mid tier 1 tower, this is all going on. Matu getting very farmed off of this, and I am very concerned for Liquid. I mean, you kind of nailed it in your analysis of the draft, where it just feels like they're going to be too slow paced. Their early game has been very lackluster. There hasn't really been anything happen on the map from the Cloud9 side. They lost 2 of the lanes for sure, and that one lane, the off lane, the Weaver still got plenty of farm out of it, so they're not really looking in very great shape right now.
I think my favorite thing is it's not just the heroes, but the way Team Liquid's playing it. Every single time that Cloud9 tries to do some sort of efficiency thing, right? They leave Rise in middle, while the Ember Spirit's farming is level 6, or they're leaving Noya at top lane while the Terrorblade is farming jungle. They punish that so quickly. They're so quick to actually Mind Control's diving tower against Noya. The supports looks like they're trying to rotate and get a kill on this Slardar. They're not letting Cloud9 play an efficiency game because they are so slow. That is the one advantage that Cloud9 can actually find for themselves. Kuro is being caught out a little bit by Baby Knight. There goes the jump away on the Remnant after that Frostbite. Noya manages to stop the Freezing Field. Now the follow-up here from the Golems. GH is brought low, but now they have the Stampede and the Shallow Grave to be able to keep him alive. Noya is low enough, but Mind Control not really feeling comfortable with the dive here, especially with the corrosive he's on him. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they do manage to get the kill on Hesta Joe. Miracle brought himself to around 250 HP, still good enough, but isn't enough to survive through this. He does still have the Hood to be able to turn and fight, but the physical damage is there. He's got to stop. He's going to win this 1v1. Oh, double kill for Miracle. That is the one playmaking hero that Cloud9 have, and he just fed a kill to Miracle Centaur.
Yeah, and it's not done. The damage is going to continue. It's going to get worse. This top lane, oh, okay, maybe no kills here, but Mind Control just continuing up in their face. It was a disaster before that Ember died. Like, you commit your first Warlock Rock, as well as an Ember Spirit rotation. An Ember Spirit rotation with an Arcane Rune, and you get 0 kills. You drop a rock and have the Ember there, you're expecting 2 kills minimum, I'd say, and they got nothing. And then suddenly you're losing heroes. Like, that is about the worst possible case scenario for Cloud9 that you can imagine.
Matu's been the silent assassin of towers. He took the tier 2 during that whole entire thing. A tier 2 mid already gone by 13 minutes, and he's going to try and solo Roshan with his DD.
He's got a second bear, so I believe this is possible. We'll find out.
Tree summon, and unless something tips Cloud9 off, which they don't really have any vision. Oh, maybe they could see the bugs.
I mean, at this point with the bugs, this Roche will drop too fast to get in here in time. Hestejo's in the neighborhood, doesn't have a blink though, so he may just get Savage rolled away or go down. I mean, he just doesn't realize it.
Boom. He realizes it now, but way too late. Liquid Matumba Man has an Aegis. He's got Dragonlance coming in. He's got a Maelstrom. This is looking like Cloud9 need a miracle to come back in this game.
This is currently could change. The biggest stomp we've had so far in these DAC qualifiers, but when Cloud9 need to hit that mid-game teamfight timing. We talked about the Blink Daggers like needing to come fast, or their early game being as bad as it was means they're not going to come quite when they'd hope. Hestejo gets solo killed. Means his is, I mean, 14, 15 minutes isn't too bad, but considering you have a 1v1 lane, you're expecting it perhaps a little bit faster. Slatters with the laning stage going to be very late as well, and by the time you get these blinks, Liquid going to have all these tanky survivable items that make them hard to kill. I mean, they've got the Aegis as well as the Dragonlance. On Matu, you're going to have lost all map control, all your outer towers. Now,
he's going to be caught out by surprise with the Blink Dagger. Do they have the burst damage of the Stampede? They've got the kill. He can't even seem to finish off the Veil of Discord. Such a critical tempo item for the Ember Spirit to give him that big boost in damage, and he can't even finish that much. Cloud9 are now losing their tier 2 at the top lane. They have to rotate multiple heroes if they want to be able to save it. Even then, not sure if they can actually find a kill. Maybe they can. GH are going to be caught by the Corrosive Haze and a Crush, but Noya being returned on by Matumba Man. They will manage to throw out the Golem, stopping the Freezing Field and catching Matu in the process, slowing him down. Savage Roar back. They desperately need this kill, but they don't have a blink up. 3 more seconds, and Matumba Man's running fast enough that they can't seem to get him. Bottom lane, Baby Knight's going to try and put a stop to this tier 2. Matumba Man does manage to make the TP out at top lane, just ahead of that clap. And Liquid are going to take the other tier 2 on the other side of the map. Cloud9 defend 1 tower, but they can't defend.
Well, continues to look grim. Another rock being used.
There's a clap into an ultimate. Maybe he can actually get another support here, just like they got GH. Looks like they'll be able to defend this tier 2 tower near death and be able to pick up a support for their efforts. But Liquid are going to immediately play aggressive on the opposite side of the map. Knowing all those rotations came up, they're going to pop the Stampede. Ace has to play this perfectly. He needs to get off the Sunder before the jump in from Miracle here, but the Lincolns prevents all of this. Just ends up dying like that. And I don't think even if he did get off the Sunder, Matumba Man was in the other side of things, so I don't think he would have gotten out one or the other.
Yeah, not really an escape. And at this point, Cloud9 are committing ultimates for support. Primal Split for a Dazzle, a Rock for a Crystal Maiden at top. It's not their intention by any means. They're going for the bigger prize, and they also, the only way they get these supports is by committing these ultimates, but it really tells the full tale of this game, which is an astronomical lead. 10,000 gold at 16 minutes, but it's also just the fact that Liquid's Lamp is going to scale better at this point. They've taken full control. The map, they've taken almost every single tier 2 tower, just the one at bottom lane remaining, and they're in a position where they could feasibly break through the high ground very early on, so they're going to even start chipping away with the bear.
3 cores beating on this tier 3 tower. Now, what they don't realize is there is a fresh Blink Dagger on Noya, and this could be big. This could be the opportunity for a turnaround for Cloud9. They're going to jump onto mind control, see if they can get the control into him, but Miracle! What a stomp to put everything on hold. He'll finish off Hestejo rotten before any chance of Cloud9 finishing off that kill on mind control. Now it's the tier 3 being chipped away to death. The slow death for Cloud9, it seems. Tumba Man, one by one, is going to be able to hit them down. Ace now gets jumped on by Miracle. Drop low. Sunder does go off. He's immediately going to drop anyway, but Matumba Man is low enough. Maybe not. I thought Baby Knight could actually get that kill, but he still has the Aegis. It's not worth committing. Melee Rax is under assault, and Liquid are a force not to be stopped at 18 minutes.
It is GG o'clock cap. There is nothing. There is nothing to turn. This game is like, I'm getting like, this is miserable to watch. I mean, if you're a Liquid fan, it's great. I'm not even from like a fan perspective of either of these teams, but just the way Liquid have dominated Cloud9. It's impressive, and Cloud9 have not had a single opening in this game. They have just taken small little scraps. They've had to just throw so much to get those little scraps. It is brutal right now.
Almost a 15,000 gold, 18 minutes. There's the Mjolnir now complete. Mind control as his Lincolns that we saw earlier, and as a Drance if you want. We're going to have an Aghanim Centaur. He's got Blink, Pipe, Ags. So if you thought the heroes were hard to kill before with Cloud9's lack of damage, it's going to get that much harder. But maybe,
Matu's Aegis is about to expire. He's going to be careful.
Could be the perfect time. Jump on Matu as the Aegis expires. Instead, they're going to see Kuro try and pop him. Don't have the damage. They don't have the distance. Now there's going to be a potential turnaround. They got the bugs on them. Keeping them back. They go ahead and put the static charge onto mind control. He's trying to threaten the tier 1 tower. Liquid will wrap from that high ground. Start attacking Ace. Ace is dropping low here just from the bear and the lightning proxy. Does have the Sunder. Jump in for Miracle. Is able to finish him off. Matsu's protected by mind control. The golem is dropped. They're trying to go into Miracle. Back lines. Baby Knight's going to threaten Matumba Man. He does have the corrosive Ace on him. Maybe they can actually get this kill until Kuro intervenes. They get the shallow grave off. Matu may still end up going down, but it's going to cost Cloud9 so much. They're going to lose Noya. They may just end up losing Hesta. Joe barely gets out of his ultimate in time. That was the last remaining Panda. Hesta Joe looks like he's just going to be walked on here. They do have a stomp coming in on the Centaur. That will be down from Cloud9. They lost 2 of their cores, 1 of their support. It's just Baby Knight who walks away from that. Cloud9, they got Matu finally, and they actually got them a good amount of gold.
They killed a core hero for once. That's a development for them, but that cost them every single ultimate. And then it's like Cloud9's meant to like win a fight convincingly, take a tower or 2 with their ultimates, and then have to back off and play defensively. Well, they got 1 kill and lost 3, and now they're going to have to back off and probably watch another Rax go down, if anything, because once Matu's back, TP's in, we're looking at Liquid pressing for high ground. 50 seconds, no Metamorphosis, even longer without the split or the Chaotic Offering. Fighting right now is damn near impossible.
Mind control going Deso next, but that's probably more to do with how far ahead Liquid are and wanting to finish this game off than anything else. Miracle's got that Aghanim Scepter. Cloud9, meanwhile, there's really not much to talk about. Like items, Baby Knight, gonna try and work towards a Blink Dagger after that Boots of Travel, but the thing is that Boots of Travel upgrade that it got, it doesn't really change how they do this fight. Liquid beating on the tier 3 towers, no responses from Cloud9. They have their Blink up, but they don't have the... Oh no! Blink Dagger canceled there on Noya. Looks like he got lightning shocked right before he wanted to jump in. Without the golems, it seems a futile effort for Cloud9 to try and contest. They're going to try and jump on a mind control. Miracle immediately responds. 2-man stomp. Shallow grave is there as well. GH on top of everything else with a freezing field. Ace is trying to target the backline, trying to go for Matu, but Matu's going to kite him around. He's now at a distance that he can turn, fight with the bear, gets the roots. Sunder goes off, trying to finish off Kuro, but the heals are too much to handle. He does finish off the bear, which actually kills Lone Druid the hero. So Baby Knight gets both the 300 gold and a kill for the kill. Hesta Joe, though, he's being targeted by Miracle, and the amount of magic damage they have, they'll bring him down. Baby Knight can still fight this one out, though. Maybe he can actually get a kill and a support. Never mind. They just seem too tanky. Baby Knight has to hide underneath a shrine, gets that one off, doesn't have a remnant for another second. They bring him down as well. I mean, there's buybacks, but at this point, I'm not sure if killing the supports are going to be able to bring this game back for Cloud9. Kuro manages to get out the shallow grave. They bring down Noya. Anyway, Baby Knight caught inside the Frostbite into a stomp. Remnant up, gets away, but Miracle's going to pursue. 3 more seconds till the Blink Dagger's up. Mind Control could just finish him off with physical damage. Instead, they wipe Cloud9 again and again and again, and finally beat them into submission, dominating this game 1. Liquid 22-6 in 22 minutes.
Yeah. This felt like more the Liquid like we were expecting to show up yesterday, just like crushing their lanes, having a dominant early game. Yesterday we saw them go for like a weak laning set where they had a Shadow Fiend with a Naga Siren. They did do an impressive job that game, like turning things around, coming back and securing their late game, but this is like, I think, the kind of Liquid that you want to see. You don't want to see them just always fall back to that late game carry-oriented play when they can go for this kind of aggressive lanes and just dominate using that early pressure in the off lane with the tri lane, Miracle winning his 1v1 matchup. This was, all in all, just
ban. Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
And what happened to them in game one? It seems maybe a little bit of drafting issues and also on over in that laning phase. Too much for them.
5
They'll
seconds
give a
remaining.
different options. Gods, it looks like Cloud9 are already taking some time to think about the just first couple of bans, which most part has been very automatic for the team. That for me is a little bit concerned because they're like, how do we actually ban here? Do we still ban away the coddle? Looks like they're going to opt to ban away the Druid this time around, which what's left now?
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
The Slaughter, okay, yeah, that was. It's nice to see a series with less Slaughter at least now with a ban on that. But I think Cloud9 were a bit slow to start the second game, so perhaps the slow draft is just one of their players needing or wanting a bit more time, and they're just like, all right, just pick a bit slower, and we'll take a bit of a breather after getting stomped as badly as they did. Jumping right into the next game with no break whatsoever doesn't really seem like the best approach after losing in such one-sided fashion. I mean, after losing in any fashion, you lose a long, grueling game, it's the same thing. You want to kind of take that breather, settle down, and kind of be like, okay, let's go to the next game now with a clear head.
Liquid's turn to pick.
'Cause, 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 'cause,
Just something different, I think, is what I take away from this, and where it's like Cloud9's like, all right, let's mix things up, pick a different type of support, something that can be a bit greedy if you want to jungle at it. It does have a bit more laning presence than what we saw last game, and also will keep Liquid fully guessing as far as what Cloud9 are going into. Based on it, I mean, it's a Crystal Maiden. You're not going to counter a Crystal Maiden with your draft, that's for sure. So Liquid will just pick to their own strengths and go back to the Weaver once again.
And here, Cloud9 is the second pick as the Crystal Main, but 9 immediately has to Joe Enigma, which we yesterday or
Radiant team back.
So I was like, all right. I'm watching him play this. Like, all right, this looks like something Cloud9's played in. They like to 5-man around. They do really. It seems Hester knows just how to play this in the lane. And then I see that tweet. I'm just start laughing. I'm like, all right, he's found a new hero he's good at.
I was inspired by Hester Joe. Yesterday we were playing the Battle Cup. And
10 seconds remaining.
Enigma off lane. It does feel pretty good. I have to say, like, solid laning phase. You just keep on denying the range creep, so the lane pushes into you. If it's a tough lane, you can just go jungle with those Eidolons, wait for the wave to push into you. If you actually get a successful block on like the easy camp or even the hard camp, and those camps locked, it feels like the lane is just going to be total free farm for Enigma at all times. It's like you have to have very active supports to be able to deal with farm he's going.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's Hester was getting both the best of both worlds. He was farming the lane, denying the range trips, and then also farming the jungle. Like he'd farm both jungle camps, pick up the banner rune, and then go to the lane as the wave got to his tower to farm like a couple of creep waves. So the mech timing with Arcane Boots was, and we'll see what Liquid have in mind to try and stop or pressure it, whether it's going to be trying to pressure the tower a bit more since the creeps are being pulled back towards it, doing early rotations to block some of those Enigma camps around that off-lane secret shop. They need to get up in the Enigma space, or they need to win some of the other lanes.
Grafos get it away from team again. Disruptor Vapor ban. What a Baby Knight's specialties, that mid Viper would have been one of the better heroes against the potential Wisdual.
Yeah, and I think you're just like, let's not give him a comfort hero that he can quote-unquote cheese us with a bit. I mean, you kind of just go for those early stat items, get us Dragonlance, Treads, Manta, whatever it may be, and just start pushing down towers as we've seen Cloud9 do a few times. So it looks like more similar to what Cloud9 were doing yesterday with this draft. At least that's what Liquid's expecting as well, based on the Viper ban. See what kind of substitute mid-hero they consider for him. The sniper's still in the pool. That's something Baby Knight's always played a lot of if they want to go into some kind of like ogre sniper type draft, but plenty of options. It's still a very open pool as far as that's concerned.
Team Liquid not really locking anything down either with their venture pickup, as some additional minus armor is welcome from a support position if you do Weaver, and simultaneously safe lane venture in turn. Impressive push lineup for Liquid. Wait and see. Cloud9 have their opportunity.
Reserve time.
Respond. Dazzle's still out there in the pool, but
Dazzle CM seems kind of lackluster. But we've seen a lot of these 4-position Dazzles like today and yesterday, where the hero just gets some good farm and it has a greater impact. So I mean, it's not completely out of the picture. They've already got the kind of heal and sustain from the Enigma, so perhaps they look for something with a bit more utility. Not sure what that's going to be. The obvious choices, the Earth Spirit, the Slider, have both been banned out, so a bit more limited there.
They picked up their Bane in their DAC match. Do you remember what that was matched up against?
Synderen played a Bane. Did Cloud9 also?
Maybe they did. Maybe it was Nib. Oh wow, Bounty Hunter. Huh.
More active 4-position, not quite like the disruptive 4-position I expect, in the sense like he's going to be initiating, but disruptive in a very different way, but a very effective one.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm wondering how much this bounty hunter, maybe this is something they've done before against Wisp. I wonder how well the bounty hunter disrupts the Wisp, because we know he's going to pick up an early bottle and he's going to move around between lane to lane. He's going to try and grab these bounty runes for the constant sustain that he can lend to mostly the mid lane, but some other lanes as well. And maybe bounty hunter can actually stay ahead of that. Yeah. Maybe bounty hunter can actually count. Naga Siren, fourth pickup for.
Remaining.
Yeah. The other nice thing is just finding the eye. Often he's behind enemy lines, but being able to just get in deep and get your team vision can help solve that IO problem where you're trying to initiate on someone, they're just constantly getting tethered up, overpowered, and then relocated out if they need. So we'll see. You kind of want like a gap closer to go with that if that's the case, which Cloud9 would have to get for either their mid or their carry, and that's exactly what they get. Here we go.
Now we
get a Meepo game.
Got a real game.
This is good. This is going to be fast-paced from Cloud9, and that's something which they... I mean, this is like the complete opposite of their last game. Meepo, you're looking to end the game by 25 minutes, typically. At least the way the Meepo's currently played with like the Treads, Double Dragon Lance, Dagger, and then... Yeah, just snowball from there. I like Meepo against Naga, too. I feel like the pace of the game with Meepo...
Reserve time.
Yeah, you definitely come online about the time that Naga Siren's picking up that Radiance, and Meepo just starts taking over the whole entire game and the whole map from there. Naga Siren struggle successfully pull that next round of items without
Radiant team
spamming.
ban.
And no AoE, no team fight. Like, what is the Meepo counter? Like, against Meepo, you either want like single target burst damage or ideally AoE stuns and control, and that's two things Liquid have zero of currently.
10 seconds remaining.
Jeez, I'm not sure. Sven is like one of the past Meepo counters, but I mean,
maybe they turn this Naga Siren
with the Naga.
What if they turn the Naga Siren into a support though and run Vengeful Spirit?
Yeah, Venge carry and then pick a mid. Yeah, I think it's possible. I guess they're likely looking. I think this Enigma's just gonna free farm away in the off lane, either through the jungle or the lane itself. Get a really fast mech, and then if you need a pipe or a Crimson Guard, you get that. And then suddenly you're 5-manning with this really scary Meepo and this Enigma who just provides this incredible teamfight presence. And Liquid don't have a good answer for that, and that's where the Venge core seems to fit quite well. And that would have actually been one of the more disruptive heroes for the Meepo in his laning stage, as well as the overall game plan Cloud9, where you hit this timing, and that's where Tinker maybe has Boots of Travel's Blink and can actually defend some of those pushes and keep away from you.
5 seconds remaining.
So both teams looking for mids. Give me Knight, what is the hero of choice?
5 seconds remaining.
Poker's still out there, but I was actually feeling Queen of Pain maybe for Liquid, because I did feel like they needed a
so was I.
But
Yeah.
and Cloud9 gonna take it from them.
Do they want Shadow Fiend, perhaps? Maybe that takes... I mean, Shadow Fiend with Naga. If you're doing Shadow Fiend, you're doing it with a Venge core. I don't think you want to do that with a Naga core. I mean, they did do that the other day, but I don't think this Cloud9 draft lets you get away with it the way the NIP draft let you get away with that. Because this draft will take towers and really push fast.
Reserve time.
So SF or let's see, Sniper and Invoker. If we're running a Vengeful Spirit core, if we're running a Naga Siren core, we want something really fast, don't we? Something quick tempo.
Puck, perhaps?
Yeah, Puck's the only hero I could think.
It's like a kind of intermediate one, which is like the OD. It's not exactly fast-paced, but it's also not too greedy. Otherwise, you're looking at some maybe like gimmicky, completely out there mid laners that you just wouldn't normally expect.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I can only think of like, if it's Naga Siren core, I can literally only Puck that I feel. Tiny.
There's the gimmicky type mid where you go something completely different, something snowbally, something that with burst damage, kill potential on Meepo, and I think this is Liquid like this Meepo. I think this Meepo pick like straight up outdrafted them. But now this is putting Miracle in a position where he can potentially outplay Cloud9 by being on this tiny. So, and also I think it's a great hero for against Meepo too. But I think if Cloud9 play their draft right, they have the draft advantage.
on the bounty hunter and how impactful he is. This strategy gonna have Enigma, who should just be able to free farm no matter which or support. I don't think that's
5 seconds
so much of a
remaining.
problem here. So we're gonna have fast mech, fast sustain items, maybe even everything looks pretty good here for Cloud9 in this draft.
Yeah, the Meepo pick for the most part's been one of their go-to successful heroes. Most teams are actually first stage banning it against Cloud9. And that's what we saw in both games yesterday, I believe. So it has been a go-to throughout WESG. They were playing it quite a bit, so definitely see this as a comfort draft for C9. I mean, the Enigma's a new hero they've been running, but they have 2 wins quickly with it, and I like how the hero pairs up with Meepo. Perhaps you need to go for an earlier Blink to be able to keep up with the Meepo. Like, I'd like to see like a mech into Blink before you go for like that Pipe Crimson Guard secondary defensive item. But Queen of Pain works well with the Meepo. Like, you've got very active, aggressive core heroes, and Bounty Hunter to scout things out, be a nice kind of visionary hero. So this C9 draft works very nice.
What does Liquid have to do? I mean, we obviously know Miracle's got a snowball. GH is going to be a big part of that. What about the side lanes here? What do, well, Naga Siren's farm. What does Kuro have to do in this game? What does Mind Control have to do in this game to inhibit Cloud9's clear progression?
Yeah, I think Mind Control is perhaps the one player who can really step it up and cause problems. If he can be very annoying and disruptive with the supports, keep them busy, make sure that the other lanes can have a better time because the CM, the Bounty Hunter, preoccupied with the Weaver down bottom. I think that's where Liquid can perhaps try and make things swing their way. We may see like a early surprise rotation from like Kuro or GH towards that bottom lane, where Mind Control tries to bait in some aggression and then you turn it around. Using like a tether or using just a smoked up Vengeful Spirit Sing behind him. So this Liquid offlane is where they can look to be disrupted. Alternatively, they may just decide it's a lane that they're going to struggle in too much, but I'd like to see Mind Control get aggressive. He's got the double regen, Tango Salve on the career, so he's going to be playing to stay in this lane and have as much presence as possible.
Yeah, you know, I like that idea quite a bit, Gods. In fact, I would like it even more if Kuro actually, because I'm not sure how well his time is going to be spent up at that top lane. If Hester Joe is playing relatively back, and then later on at the levels, he starts getting those high levels, and supports can actually fight into that. So maybe his time is better spent in the bottom lane, facilitating Mind Control progression and put more pressure there, and that could even potentially turn into a tri-lane at times with the Wisp moving around with this bottle could absolutely tether in and help Liquid get more aggressive.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I don't see the Radiance timing of Naga Siren necessarily being the deciding factor. Like, Matu should be, even if he's not getting much help against Enigma, once he has his Arcane Boots, he falls back to the jungle, farms up his jungle, and will just play defensively. We'll see him get either a 16-minute Radiance, if he gets some support perhaps. If he doesn't get much support, maybe it's an 18, 19-minute one, but that to me is not a problem. The problem's going to be this Meepo and how fast a tempo he's going to set. So helping out the other lanes is going to be much more to Liquid's benefit. And that's exactly what Kuro's already doing. He's setting up in the trees, maybe expecting like an early CM poke and harass, and if CM tries to harass and zone Mind Control, suddenly Bench comes out and you found yourself an early first blood for Liquid. And with that said, Rise is like, he's just stuck.
Yeah. If CM doesn't show, and they get the right kind of block here, which Mind Control is doing an okay job of, they might be able to get a lot of damage onto the Meepo as well. Baby Knight's push back from there. The Ace be gone on here pretty shortly by Kuro. You're gonna see early poof being used.
Yeah, Kuro's waiting for a CM to show up, I think. But once CM doesn't, I think they're likely, like you say, just go for the Harak. You may as well take good Storm early on. Ace will take a lot of damage to this.
Yeah, that was smart. I thought maybe they were going to wait for level 2 just to be able to have the Swarm, but I think you're right. They're waiting out the CM, and if CM doesn't show, then why can't Mind Control get level 1 Swarm? Mid, Baby Knight in a little bit of trouble. Can't quite get the distance for the toss. Still tries to get it. They're actually dancing around Miracle and GH quite nicely, but Noya, he's too scared to go for the kill on GH. He knows that Tiny's going to be able to respond. Instead, just does damage done. Call it at that. The two of them are actually going to shrine up together. And eat the... Get it. Run away, Noya. All right, he's good. He's good. He kills the counter wards. maintains presence in this lane once again.
I mean, that's a great start for C9. They Liquid use their shrine very early on. They get one singular CS on the Tiny. So Baby Knight with 8 CS, 3 denies is winning that battle so far. That'll change as Miracle gets some alone time and gets a creep wave to himself now. But this mid lane, I like what Noi has done to help stabilize this rough IO Tiny lane.
Not only is Vengeful Spirit currently gone on by Noya and Rise, they might actually be able to get this kill. The help of GH, though, will put a stop to that. I thought maybe with the Orb of
Ace
Venom,
is coming in.
He's actually going to be able to get the net. There it is. With the poof, they should be able to finish off Kuro, and that will be your first blood for Ace. Maybe a second blood. GH does have a tether up. Help me, Miracle. He does. He's
That
away.
is. I mean, I talk about Meepo being fast-paced. I don't expect a 2 minutes level 3 Meepo to rotate mid, but that's exactly what he just did.
Certainly not. Mind Control even tried to come over and get one of the supports, but of Cloud9 staying grouped up together. Nice.
How's our top lane going? Looks like the straight up 1v1. This is what we talked about. Matu get denied a bit here, but realistically, Avenger's not going to be able to zone out or stop Enigma doing what he's going to do. So they just give Matu a straight 1v1. He's actually winning the CS battle so far.
Yeah, he gets the early PMS, has high armor, and then he has the Riptide in the way to affect those Eidolons too for extra CS.
He can.
They shouldn't have choose on a one.
Yeah, he can really get up in then the Eidolons' faces and threaten to kill them quite easily. One of the better heroes to kill Eidolons with. You don't take too much. Like the physical damage is much better for killing them than magic damage. The 50% magic resistance on them is not the most effective way. So lowering their armor, magic damage from Riptide, but lowering their armor for the right clicks.
Catch Mind Control there. Drop the counter ward. Looked for the Frostbite. If they got that, then they'd be able to get the follow-up Earthbinds and finish off. Barely gets out with Shukuchi. Up now at top lane, seeing if he maybe get a quick kill, and it has to go, though I am doubtful.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, no ensnare. I don't even think it's worth getting a point in ensnare again. It's like you just want to focus on your farm.
Oh, they just burst down GH, and now Miracle's in trouble. Noya, he has an extra bit of burst damage. He's got the Orb of Venom. Miracle's just hoping for a 4-minute rune. Won't get that much. He's going to look for the Roshan tonight, but can't get there. A Shuriken finishes him off. Baby Knight and Noya are destroying the Tiny Wisp, and
yeah, that is a disaster of a lane at this point for Liquid. Baby Knight farming very well, getting not the best early levels since he's been splitting it, which is not saying Queen of Pain necessarily wants to do, but the kills have been fantastic for them. Bottom lane now, Rises looking for Mind Control with the double ensnare. Uh-oh.
got him. Mind Control moved up, another net. Down, and I'm surprised he's caught up by that one after he initially dodged the counter ward and frostbite attempt. They find the kill and
yeah, it was the invis rune from CM, so got caught by it was just a CM like camping on top of him with the invis and didn't have vision of that rune to know it was coming.
Miracle and GH, though, they always had the recovery mechanism. Looks like they're going to go on Baby Knight again. Last time they actually died because of it, but this time around with level 5, they do have the burst damage to actually get that Queen of Pain. Lane is back in their favor. All back on the speed.
Yeah, he really needs the raindrops against the Tiny combo. It blocks a lot of the damage with that toss being negated. It means you're not going to die from full HP of the combo, so he's queued it up already in his quick buy.
More concerning. Few. Also Hester Johnson, who's free farming. Or maybe 4-1, but it's much more than that for Cloud9. Hester Joe may be caught or not.
I don't think he can get caught. Like, Kuro gets a stun off. There's no way you kill Hester Joe. I feel like Kuro is... He's not achieving anything in terms of posing kill threat. I guess he just wants to get some levels and farm. Like it looks like he's just going for pulls and some stacks here or there maybe. Like he's farming some neutrals, but realistically there is nothing they can do to kill Hester Joe. You're very close to a tower. He can turn Black Hole the Naga with a TP rotation in from like a Meepo, and then suddenly you're looking at turnaround kills. So this top lane doesn't seem like somewhere where Kuro can get much done other than which perhaps is
Miracle
fine in itself.
needs some help. He needs more than just GH. They do have the magic wand. They're going to turn on Baby Knight with the help of Kuro. They may actually be able to claim this 1 kill and turn it into 2. Kuro here with the magic missile gets blocked up a little bit. He doesn't have the mana. They do get another turnaround kill on Baby Knight. This Queen of Pain just keeps on getting bursted down by the Tiny. His range op seems not to be enough for him. Or he needs the tankier upgrades and treads.
I don't think going on a Tiny who's got the HP pool that Tiny has is not something that you can bring down with IOCing behind. Perhaps they thought GH was out of the lane, but just slightly underestimate the Tiny's tankiness there, and the turnaround. Like, Kuro didn't even throw any spells onto that Queen of Pain. Quap died with or without that TP in, really, and it's unfortunate kill to be giving up. With how well the Meepo's doing, and as well as the Enigma, I think Baby Knight doesn't need to go for that kind of aggression. The game is looking in a pretty good state regardless.
Blocking back out to the top. Do you think his presence early on in laning phases work, but do you think the Meepo's just too strong to have a presence bottom lane and here at top spending his time?
At this point, if you want to go to Meepo's lane, you got to bring 3 heroes probably. You've got to bring Tiny for one thing. Like, he's the only... Any chance of contesting Meepo's lane involves Tiny. Weaver's just down here trying to put together some semblance of farm. I think Weaver Venge cannot kill Ace, that's for sure. He'll just turn around on them. Again, they're looking for Miracle. I do not know about this.
Damage on Baby Knight. They think that'll make the difference. They're going to go for GH in the back lines. Baby Knight turns around, one-shots him. He does have Sonic Wave, but the physical damage from Miracle is rapidly threatening him. The toss is coming up. Miracle attempted to go for it with Noya there. Tried to toss him over to the Queen of Pain. Couldn't quite get it. And Baby Knight will survive this time around.
Meanwhile, bottom, it looks like Ace got the solo kill on the Weaver. That was with his third Meepo, so...
Got a Miracle again. They're also going on top. Baby Knight, can he get this hit? No, the magic wand. He blinks forward and will claim it. That's a big kill. They finally bring him down. Meanwhile, on top lane, they did get Hester Joe with the help of GH, but that also cost Miracle. Very likely felt the Whis turnaround. Not much time.
Does feel like the mid lane from C9 has been playing a bit aggressive, but there it pays off. Like, the IoT being top meant that Tiny was well and truly alive, and Baby Knight gets good value out of the end of his double damage rune to find that kill. TP in top, they could go for a black hole, and yeah, Matu knows it. He immediately sleeps before the TP even completes. He doesn't go for that. He gets Malefist, black hole. I mean, he's probably going to die there, so good defensive play.
Cloud9 poking at Liquid, it seems, in the right areas here, getting that kill on Penny, trying to shut down this combination before they get the big power spike when GH has his level 6, and that's when Ace has to be a little bit more scared. He's level 11 right now with his treads and dragon. Like, he's not going to go for the double dragon lances or go for the...
Yeah. Initially had the second one queued up, but it feels like he can get active. Like, get active around the Enigma mech. That's where very strong. So having the blink initiation, I mean, his team doesn't have initiation. That's what the Meepo is meant to be. Queen of Pain doesn't want to go blinking in first in these fights, and we'll see him probably start rotating towards that off lane to pair up with Hester Joe, who has taken that top tier 1 tower.
Caught trying to sap all that experience, gets a dust. They'll claim that extra kill. Back over to top lane. Hester Joe turns around, gets some damage onto Kuro.
Ace with the blink. Ooh. In on towards mind control. Didn't actually find the ensnare though. This is danger time for Liquid. The blink has been scouted, so there's no like surprise first blink. I think it would have been maybe a better call to go top with that blink. You know the sleep's on cooldown, and Matu would have no escape from a TP in, blink and snare. That's a dead Naga.
Or Baby Knight low on the back lines, but Miracle is serving as a bodyguard here. H will be medic. Ace is going to come in with his blink dagger, but Liquid are backing away. They don't actually have oh, they do actually have some
structures are fortified.
wards, or all Liquid wards centered around potential rotation bottom lane. And
yeah, they were pinging out Ace's position, seem to be aware of it, but it does mean they'll give up this mid tier 1 tower. So, I mean, for Cloud9, like, you want to be aggressive, find kills, but if Liquid aren't biting, just take those towers and back off. So they won't get the last hit. I think Quap thought she had it with that last right click, slightly overestimated her physical damage, but either way, tower still goes down, map control going slightly more in Cloud9's favor.
Mr. Joe's feeling good about the space that he's been granted after this. He's already taken the tower, has mech and runes. Favor, we'll see if he picks up the talked about, add a little bit of mobility. Sustain hero to help. How Cloud9 are going to try and use this Meepo. Going to keep him farming up for now, or going to add some point aggression in him?
I'd like to see some points of aggression soon. They've got the Enigma ready to go, really. I don't think there's like a blink or a pipe that you're waiting for anything. At least take these like tier 1 bottom towers. And yeah, Enigma's TPing down bottom. They want to push and fight around the mech, as well as this blink dagger.
Yeah, I think Cloud9
really
have to...
Go ahead.
I think they either have to be like 5-manning, or they have to be really active there in Meepo and being the ones game, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for these relocate attempts. Tiny blink dagger finds a pick off from the CM, and this is might be to see that man for C9.
The tiny blink is nowhere near as effective as an item when you're 5-manning. It's the same with like the Slack Shadowblade. Like if you start 5-manning down towers, a Slack Shadowblade or a tiny blink is not going to be able to just engage into you. It puts your life in danger. Tiny doesn't even have any escape once he's committed, unless you want to commit like a relocate to pull him out. So it should be pretty straightforward towers to claim at this point. So the other really good, I think the useful hero they've got for these pushes is Noya on the Bounty Hunter. He can just get in behind these towers. Like, yeah, maybe here or there he'll get caught out by a dust or run into a sentry and die for it, but bottom lane they've found Venge and possibly Mind Control as well.
Now that track is going to be a big kill. They do have the relocate, and they're going to be able to pop past to Joe despite the mech going down. Now Noya and Ace may not have the damage together to be able to bring down Miracle, but they could definitely get GH before he can relocate them out. Now the poof forward. Nice play by Ace. Excellent Meepo control. Gets the 1 kill, starts the poof, and blinks forward with his main Meepo to find the primary damage dealer, Liquid.
Very nicely done, and there's, Tiny had to go for the Enigma because that black hole was coming in and wanted to burst. I mean, you've got to focus one target, so the mech, you don't get full value out of it. You don't want to spread that damage. They take the Enigma out, make sure there's no black hole in the picture, but at that point, there's nothing left for the Meepo, so it's really tough for Tiny this game because there's too many threats. Like, you use your combo on a Queen or an Enigma, Meepo's going to recap. You use on the Meepo, then you're potentially not going to kill him, and then Enigma's going to turn it around with a black hole, so... we'll even see Enigma respond to what just happened by picking up a Vitality booster. Just raw survivability is, I think, all the Enigma and Queen of Pain need to go for. I'm a bit surprised to see the Orchid build up. Oh, Ace just continue to wreak havoc. I feel like the Orchid, I don't know, I feel like Baby Knight just wants to tank up this game more than anything, personally.
Both Baby Knight and Hester Joe need to be able to solve that problem. Hester Joe seems to be on the right point. Not sure about Baby Knight and his choice of the...
Yeah.
Oh, I would feel better about it.
It could work for picks, but...
The Veil of Discord still seems like a powerful item. They're going to go for Miracle here, but misses out on the initial net here. GH, relocate, and long-range tether brings him out just in time. I like that GH played the distance game there, holding on to the relocate and tether some time, just because he was afraid of Ace actually touching him. Going to be able to get GH most likely. No, a long-range tether away to Kuro.
Oh, gets near somehow. Okay.
And he is out, so they're good. These kills are all the more important because we can't forget about that track Bounty Hunter brings to the table, all that extra gold that Ace is getting.
Radiance is online, somewhat reminiscent of that game yesterday, a couple days ago from Liquid, where they felt like they were getting beat down badly until they got that Radiance and just turtled up, and that's probably going to be a similar call this game around. Question is, how much damage can Cloud9 do? They're about to pick up an Aegis on the Meepo, and with this Mech Vanguard on Enigma, they have a very potent 5-man push.
Mind Control knows he's thrown the Swarm into the pit, has found Cloud9 doing Roshan, but can Liquid actually contest this? I think they can. They've already got the Aegis in hands, though. Matu holding on to the song. He's going to be able to go for Hester Joe first. Miracle helps him out, lending a helping hand in the toss. We'll be able to finish off that off-laner, take away the sustain, but now Kuro's going to be caught by Ace until the sleep goes down, but Kuro's still going to tick down. The Shadow Strike is able to finish him off alongside the Meepo's Geo Strike damage. Rest of Liquid's there. I thought they were going to full escape here. Miracle's still trying to play around, see if he can get a pick with this Shadow Blade. Oya has spotted him out, though. If he's not careful, he's going to get jumped on. That Blink Dagger is going to get disabled. He turns around, gets a two-man avalanche. Can they still catch him with the Shuriken? Again, binding them more time now. C9 has caught him. Ace is on top of him. Will manage to pick up that kill and the rest of the meat back.
Yeah, he even like preemptively TP's home, knowing that he probably wants to heal up, ready for the Enigma respawn. Try and take some more objective on the map. They want to just keep on going, running at Liquid before this Naga becomes too much of a problem. And right now with the sleep on cooldown, it's very difficult for Matu to get involved in a fight. Cloud9 may not even have to go for all the tier 2s and tries. They could theoretically threaten to go for that high ground play fairly soon. They've got level 3 Meepo ultimate, and they're about to pick up that first Ethereal Blade. That's where there's a big boost in Meepo's right-click damage, especially onto buildings. With double Dragonlance, Ethereal Blade, buildings melt to this Meepo.
Gonna chop him down. Team Liquid don't have too many options.
He's
but
hunting top.
Pushing. Weaver's not gonna be caught underneath that tower. All around, but mind control away into the trees. Good, another Shi and up that hunt.
There's no Meepo mid now though.
On a hunt of his own. Again, can't find anything with this Shadow Blade. They're so desperate. Liquid, you can see a very clear game plan, especially with the Shadow Blade on Liquid. They want to try and split C9 as up as much as possible and get these occasional pickoffs with an overwhelming amount of damage. But now Matu may have been caught. He does have a Song of Siren. He's baiting right now. He wants Miracle to be able to come in and get one of these weaker kills. But Matu, oh no, he doesn't have it in time. He gets taken out by Ace. Now GH is going to be the next target. He has a track on him, so he's going to die. Miracle now with no longer having a clear escape mechanism is going to have to use his Shadow Blade to try and get away. Fortunately, C9 not having the vision there on their two cores.
Oh, see him as a sentry? Not going to get right.
And I thought Matu's Song of Siren was already up, but needed a few more seconds. Rough.
Yeah, those are key kills. Take the Naga out for a little while. Find a couple extra pick-off bounties. TPing to the shrine and will immediately go on mind control, but perhaps not the result he was hoping for with that TP in. Enigma's mech is coming to perhaps save his life, and
go heal now.
Good black hole
goes the shrine, and he absolutely could, but the Orchid's going to come in first. Baby Knight has the control there. Mind control, they need a little bit more, and that's where the black hole comes in. Sonic Wave will be held on to.
Oh, Korea. Miracle. No, it's there. It doesn't look like it. May just be going for the kills and pickoffs. That Weaver's being so annoying with the split push. In my mind, like, using a black hole there is fine. They don't need it push. It's much more about just killing these split pushes than it is having a black hole to push with. The Ace with the Aegis is more than enough.
Miracle, make up your mind, homie. He's like, he couldn't decide. He's like, Courier or Rise, Courier or Rise. Doesn't end up getting either. Now maybe he can get Rise. The problem is, Rise has actually got enough HP to survive through the combination. So if he's not careful...
he's got an IO coming in now. Yeah. I know we have the Shadow Blade damage.
There we go. Physical damage. You're recommend. Alright, Shrine's gonna go
Zing
down.
Gets
First
out.
one.
Doesn't look like they'll go for the high ground push off of this Aegis. I think they'd rather just try and find a fight or some kind of a scrappy brawl where they can just have Meepo go in first and force Tiny like to use a combo or even like an IO relocate save and find a few additional kills. But Ace is in position top, and okay, that is a quick, fast kill.
Kills on mind control, because we said we needed him to be an aggressor and we needed him to make use of his mobility, especially against this Meepo, never to be caught and to be playing in Cloud9's face. But he has been caught a number of times. It looks like Miracle's going to try and set up on Baby Knight with this combination. The toss forward, damage is barely enough. Now they can catch Rise as well, as Matu and GH were set near that tier 1 tower. Noya's coming in with Hesta Joe and Ace thinking they can fight this one, but there goes the Song of Siren. Now if they bring more, no, they're not gonna fight into that. Ace is still too big and he has that Aegis, even with the numbers advantage.
That is that fight, or not even fight, that pick off there is like prime example of where not a fan of Baby Knight's build this game.
Oh, this is the Avalanche a little bit, but can they still go on Ace? They've got him low. He just lost the Aegis. The swap into the stun. Nice play from Kuro, getting the distance needed for the disable. Now they go for more. Hesta Joe up next with Mind Control. Shikuching on in. They get the Wisp Balls. Wait, no, the relocate back. That's not what she wanted to do, GH. Lit Mind Control. Go for this one. Miracle is still going to be able to close that gap. Gets a combination onto him. They're playing a little bit scared, though. Afraid of maybe the Sonic Wave as Queen of Pain has come in and tried to go for Miracle with the Orchid onto Kuro, but now that silence is gone. He's going to be able to hit the stun, followed up by the Ensnare. Can Matu do this? Sonic Wave will finish off Kuro, but Matu gets a bigger kill in that Queen of Pain. Matumba Man will get out. What a big turnaround. A nasty engagement that Team Liquid in and out are able to find multiple pickoffs.
I mean, that right there is the biggest downside of Meepo as a hero. You snowball, you get really far ahead. One kill, suddenly you've given away a 1,000 gold streak, and he has an 80-second respawn time as well, because he's level 22 at 21 minutes in the game. That's ridiculous. More than a level a minute. That is some absurd rate of experience gain. And he's suddenly put on the sidelines, and that's a big dent in C9's aggression. I think C9 are going to have to look at that next Aegis as looking to close out this game. They do not want this game to drag. Talk about Meepo trying to end games around the 25-minute mark, and we are approaching that point. Tiny's just getting a lot of free picks. I mean, Miracle's played very well. Definitely definitely worthy of some props there, but I feel like the itemization on the Queen of Pain has enabled Miracle to find much easier kills, and Cloud9 have just been a bit too split up and presented too many opportunities for him, but they do seem to know where he is right now. Yeah.
But they don't see him. Lights on through. The dust is going to come in too late. You know, it's funny because I felt like Cloud9 were doing very well for themselves, preventing the pickoffs early on. Seemed to have a pretty ironclad defense for the most part, and then as Liquid kind of kicked up the tempo, they got more and more frantic with their movement all over the map. It seems like C9 lost some of their vigilance in protecting themselves. Thanks.
Yeah. And Miracle's like positioning, he's always like on the enemy side of the map, like behind towers. Like it's these kind of places where you're just not expecting him to be, and you're not really scouting out those areas. Like you about the Bounty Hunter being very good for the 5-man push. He wants to be on the enemy side of the map scouting. He doesn't want to be posturing himself defensively or keeping tabs of the Tiny, nor can he because of constant Shadowblade used to move around the map. And perhaps we see like a fast gem pickup on someone like Noya just so he can roam around and figure out exactly where Miracle is, because right now he is completely destroying them through his movement.
They force the rotations bottom lane. They even throw out a dust just to see if bounty hunters are around. Maybe they'd go for this Meepo atop, but they want some extra help. Now Matu's here, so surely with the relocate in, they can actually kill Ace. He's going on to mind control, but first he gets the time lapse off. So now C9 in some serious trouble. Ace trying to get out with one of his Meepos, but the other ones, I don't think they're going to be able to poof out in time. One of us ensnared, and there it is. Pick off they needed. They force the rotations bottom, find Ace at top. They're going to lose GH most likely. Kuro actually coming in, trying to lend his buddy a helping hand, but it's just going to be 2 supports that to die. And that is a lot considering the track kills that also come into play because of that one. Would have been so much sweeter just to let GH die.
Good call not to bring Miracle back in. It was one of those scenarios where you're like, all right, we killed the Meepo, we can bring the Tiny back in, but no, there's a black hole waiting for you. And the Queen of Pain Orchid, the tracks, would have been a lot of kills going the way. Miracle just out of range of that dust.
Gives him a little bit of a love tap, but Miracle Shuriken is going to be able to catch him out. Sonic Wave with the Orchid, still not enough burst damage though. Miracle will end up going down in the end though.
Hey, gets punished for the cocky play. Like he's trying to just go for some style points there. There wasn't really any positive outcome for that. Just casual right-click blink away, and well, the negative outcome was there, and that was giving away his life. Good news is the Meepo has been dead for like 3 of the last 5 minutes of this game. I feel like Meepo's been dead. Died around the 21-minute mark, and died again now. That's like 3 minutes of downtime. At the key stage of the game for Cloud9, Meepo has been dead for more than half of it. That is a big problem for them.
Another pickoff like that, and Liquids, they take over the game, but potentially take Roshan away from Cloud9, which you said is a very important item for Meepo to be.